Testing, testing, testing. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Oh man.
Yo, are you Chad?
I am
On
Chad.
the mic?
Hello.
What's up, baby?
Hello. How you
Hi.
doing? How you doing? You alright?
Good. I'm doing well. I'm in the middle of doing my laundry folding,
Oh shit.
but
Important stuff.
yes, it is.
Ooh. Ooh. Oh wait. Janchai, you there?
Hello, can you guys hear me?
This man done left me.
I'm sorry. I was trying to. I clicked
Tell
the
me
button.
nothing.
Listen, I was trying to combine everyone into one chat, and then I had to leave your private chat. I'm sorry. I'd never do that to you. I'd never.
You know what? I'm gonna have to beat that ass next time. If I
Oh,
do.
god damn it. God damn it. Anyway, for those of you listening, I have I'm not just saying this, I have two of my favorite people in the entire VR. Oh, hold on. I'm getting feedback from
There's
someone.
something in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting some echoing.
Is it coming from? Oh, it's probably
I think
coming from
it's
me.
Chad.
Oh my gosh, I'm a bad streamer. Okay,
Chad.
it should stop. Where is it coming from?
It's gone now. I don't hear it anymore.
Okay, good. It's probably coming from my laptop. I'm watching the stream in background. That's why. I'm bad. I'm a bad streamer. Anyway, as I was saying, I have genuinely two of my favorite people from not just Virtua Fighter, but fighting games in general, in Tricky Eileen and Chanchai. How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Just finished this coaching session with Logie.
Excellent. You have to forgive me because it's 3 o'clock, 3 a.m. It's 3 a.m. my end, so I'm struggling a little bit, and it's super hot, but it was really important, and I want to speak to you guys specifically. Mike Holler also wanted to be here, but what I told him it was 3 o'clock is like, I'll try, but I don't know. I'll see if he's still awake to get on. But long story short, to skip all the preamble, when I first came to Virtua Fighter, many people reached out and were really helpful and supportive, but perhaps two of the most supportive people to me when I got into Virtua Fighter was the two of you, Chanchai and Tricky Alien. And you're two of the people who I think are among the most respected in the entire community. And the more I play fighting games, especially Tekken and German the Street Fighter, I realized that fighting games are about a lot more than just the software. In fact, I feel like the software almost is like 50% of it. Like the rest of it is the people who play it, the atmosphere. Obviously, people complain about netcode because you want to have good interactions with people and all that kind of stuff. And Virtua Fighter has a community that I just think is incredible. When I try and sell people on Virtua Fighter, I'm like, the game's great, software's great, but more than anything, it's just the people you get to play with. And to start off with, I guess I'll throw it to you. I guess I'll throw it to Chanchai first and then to Tricky. But of all the fighting games you could have been playing, of all the things you could have been doing for the past 300 years, like you chose Virtua Fighter. This is the game you played. Other games have come and gone. Other franchises have come and gone. You stuck with Virtua Fighter. I'm curious. I want to hear from your lips. Why is it that Virtua Fighter got you perhaps initially, and why have you stuck with Virtua Fighter? What is it that makes Virtua Fighter Virtua Fighter?
For me personally, it is the most satisfying game that I've played. I play a lot of games, all kinds too. And I love fighting games. From the very, I knew right away how much I love fighting games kind of before they even exist. It's kind of what I'd wanted since I was young. With Virtua Fighter, with modern, I got really hooked on Virtua Fighter 2. I did play Virtua Fighter 1. I liked it. Virtua Fighter 2 is when I really fell in love with the series. So, I even bought a Saturn as a teenager. I had a job, so I had disposable income.
Right.
And I chose the Saturn because of Virtua Fighter 2. And then I ended up becoming a Sega fan after that. But and then Virtua Fighter 3 is when I started traveling. So to cut the long story short, the game is just really satisfying on so many levels for me. And I play a lot of fighting games, but it's just that it's interactivity, that the pace, which you've covered very well. You've covered the interactivity well, the decision space, the options, and what we all, I think, agree is a very conversational gameplay that it has. When you're fighting, it's like a conversation with your opponent. And that can make it actually hard to commentate this game. Really hard. like in real time, but it makes it so satisfying, that rapid back and forth. And when I've met other people around the world, that's pretty much what they also say, is they love the speed of Virtua Fighter, meaning the speed of interaction and the speed of decision making.
Yeah.
And they love just that feeling that it gives, and the fight.
Yeah,
and then and it's the fighting game where I feel like no matter what, I can always fight my way out of a paper bag. Like almost no matter what, I can find a situation.
I can fight my way out of a paper bag. I kind of like that. That's true. That's true.
I'll pass the mic to Tricky, but that's simply why Virtua Fighter chose me. You know?
Yeah. Is my mic still working, by the way? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay. I had a sound tech issue, which you might have seen as the horror of my face became, I was horrified. Please remind me of the question, because I got really distracted.
No worries, no worries. Long story short, countless fighting games, millions of fighting games have come out since you started playing Virtua Fighter, but you stuck with it. Of all the things you could have been doing, you stuck with Virtua Fighter, and I just like to know, what is it about Virtua Fighter that made you a Virtua Fighter and not a Street Fighter or a Tekkener or a Mortal Kombatter?
Got it. My answer is probably going to be lame or obvious. I feel like it's like simple.
So long as it's honest, that's all we care about.
It is. It's just the game I was best at.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. I was just really good at this game naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the fighting games that I played, this is the one that I was like the best at without knowing anything about it. Like without having the system understanding, I just played it, and like I would beat people more often than not. Now, I mean, it's not just that. I also really liked the graphics. I thought it was really good. VF2. I like three-dimensional aspect of it. I like the actual realism of the fighting styles. I used to study, I guess I still do. I'm a martial artist. I do the same martial art that Kagemaru does, or parts of his style. So in VF2, when I would play him, like I can do those throws. Not all of the like fantastical ones, but I can do a lot.
You can do the 10-foot toss. Wait, what?
No, I can do the real version of that, which is just like the like Ryu's kind of back kick, like he back throw when he kind of uses his foot and donkey kicks you around over him. Like, yeah, you're not really kicking them. It just looks like you're kicking them because whatever, technical stuff.
Right.
But like his forward throw, he kind of puts his arm over you and just throws you straight down like a judo throw. It's awesome. I love him. That's what drew me in initially, because I just felt like I was just training, like my actual martial art, and I was playing a video game. It was super dope. Just so happened I was also good at it, because Street Fighter never really fully clicked for me.
Yes.
I like it, but I always felt like there were these hidden mechanics, like frame data, priority, that I couldn't see that other people could. I found it really frustrating. So, and also, so where the community comes in, I found that Virtua Fighter players, when I did finally enter and like talk to people who knew what the hell they were doing, would tell me what was happening.
Right.
I was like a kid, right? Like when Saturn came out, I was way too young to have a job, right? So I was really little, and a lot of adults did not want to help this little upstart homegirl who's bodying them or getting close to it how to play, because they're like, no, I'm not losing to this little piece of shit. Like, no, I'm not telling you nothing. But in Virtual Fighter, they would. In Marvel, I got infinited. CVS2, I get infinited and comboed for Oblivion to the wall. Like, dude, how'd you do that?
Infinited.
With this geese like double Refugen, or not the geese like elbow. God, I hated it. No one told me nothing. Absolutely nothing. Street Fighter Third Strike, people were nicer. They did tell me some things there. So I started to play that. Tekken 5 DR, people were for some reason nicer. I was also naturally better at that game too. And there were players who were at the arcade that I could play at like Chinatown Fair more often. The VF4 cap was empty most of the time, unfortunately. So I didn't really have anyone to talk to at that time. And I stuck around. I got good.
But hang on, this is really interesting, right? So to jump on that, so there's multiple things that happened there. It sounds like you just were beating people up more. You got more wins in Virtua Fighter. So there's an alternate universe where the Street Fighter players you were playing were way worse, and you just bodied them, and you just became like the greatest Street Fighter player of all time. Or there's an alternate universe where just like the people who were playing Tekken were just ass, or they took it easy on you, and you got more wins, and then that got you in on this sort of the endorphin loop to keep going. So it sounds like there's a certain amount of luck there, right? And I want to throw it back to Chanchai real quick, because another thing you said, Tricky, was like the aesthetics. You were like, it looked cool, right? It just looked cool and it seemed cool. I wanted to get into that. Obviously, Chanchai, you talked about like obviously the mechanics of it, and I'm with you there. Like it was just the most fun. Like winning in this game or struggling in this game just feels more fun than struggling in other fighting games. Was there a similar sort of like shallow pull, to use a derogative? Like, was there something like it just looked cool, it just looked dope?
Well, the aesthetics of VF2,
yeah,
right. So Virtua Fighter 2 looked absolutely gorgeous when that game came out, and because and still blows my mind that it came out before Tekken 1 in Japan. In the US, it comes a little after, right. But Virtua Fighter 2 was just a really beautiful game, and that to me won me over too. Was the graphics and the speed of it, because it was 60 frames per second, whereas Virtua Fighter 1 was 30. And so in the arcade, there was an immediate aesthetic appeal with Virtua Fighter 2. I'd say from my observations, Virtua Fighter 2 had a better job of like drawing people in with Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Fighter 4. Virtua Fighter 3, you can tell that that's using advanced graphics, but it's not quite like. I think Virtua Fighter 3 is a beautiful game, but I can see why it's not the most beautiful game to a lot of people, right? But if you were like a graphics nerd at that time, then that's why it became super beautiful to the graphics nerd at the time. But Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Fighter 4, I think, like really, and Virtua Fighter 5 for that matter, are really gorgeous games actually in the arcades. And so in places that happen to have them as arcades, I did see them draw people in. In Portland, the Virtua Fighter 4 machine actually was a very high-performing machine because casuals kept playing it. But I'd also say that Virtua Fighter 3, which wasn't really accessible in the US, but I don't know if it would have even done as successful, even if it was cheaper and all that, as like, say, Tekken 3, because I think Virtua Fighter 3 is a game where if the worse you play at it, the uglier that game looks.
Yes.
The better you play that particular game, the much more gorgeous that game looks. Like that game looks really fast in the hands of good people, and in the hands of beginners, it looks really, really janky and slow, clumsy. Virtua Fighter 2 doesn't. Virtua Fighter 4 looks fine in casual hands. And so I would say, like for example, like what Tricky was saying, though, that's definitely a real reason for a lot of people. People do stick more with things that they are good at, or what they find like they feel some kind of affinity with when they play.
Yes.
I felt an affinity with almost every fighting game in the arcade, so it's not like, so that wasn't really, so I get to choose the one that I really like, I guess. Yeah. But so I had good success in my region at almost anything I played, but Virtua Fighter was the one that just like won me over. It's just, this is the one I want to keep playing over and over, and I can't stop playing it because it's just, the more I play it, the more I like it to this day. It's
so interesting, right? Because the reason why I found that observation really important is because I think as people have been playing fighting games for a long time, we often tell people, especially when they're starting out, hey, don't worry about winning. Focus on learning, man. Just learn the techniques, man. Learn the backdash, man. And like we're always, and there's truth to that, right? But at the same time, there is just a thrill of winning, especially when you're new, that is elusive to you precisely because you're new. And a lot of modern fighting games are constantly trying to make the act of winning as easy as possible, right? So it's like you need as little upfront investment in order to do the thing. You push the button, you do the thing. You like, and like that. Yeah. As people who are now on the other end of like maybe the skill distribution, where we've played games for longer, we know fighting games a lot more, we resent that. But you can almost see, if you put yourself back into that position of what they're trying to give people, that endorphin rush that you perhaps had, Tricky, or you perhaps had, Chanchai, and also recognizing that in a modern climate where there's so many other things kids could be playing, they could be playing Fortnite, they could be playing name any other game. It's like, we want to get them hooked. So that's why the first few ranks in, say, a modern Tekken game like don't exist, right? You only go up, you don't go down, because you got to give you that endorphin rush, right? Like once they're in, then we can be honest with them. Okay, now you got to learn to backdash. Like they're trying to delay that crash with reality for as long as humanly possible. And I'm curious to know your take on that, because obviously you've been playing Virtua Fighter, which I think has a more honest and traditional arcade-rooted take on that. But as someone observing it from the outside, I'm curious to know what you think about Chancha. Like, because you can see what they're trying to do. Have they perhaps lost too much, or is there a benefit of that? Could Virtua Fighter learn from some of it, but not go too far? Like, what's your take on the sort of that sort of? I don't even know how to describe it. Go on.
Well, I think every video game does try to achieve some kind of spectacle. I think that's undeniable. It's easy to ignore it. And as a competitive player, it's easy to ignore that, because what becomes special might be the mechanics. But in the arcade era, spectacle wins.
Yeah. Now,
that said, if you're like, okay, but Tekken has always had that spectacle, or has always understood that spectacle, that fantasy more, and you're like, okay, but also understand that in Japan, for Sega of Japan, Virtua Fighter is spoiled by the success of Virtua Fighter in the arcades in Japan. This is a series that we don't relate to it, but it really was the number one like arcade game in like Japan that's like not like a redemption game or like a racing game, right? Virtua Fighter dominated Japanese arcades, almost all of them, since 2, right? And so they had the spectacle of like Boon Boon Maro playing, in his match in VF2, and in VF3, Akira Kid from Korea coming in and showing everybody what's Korean, Korean step, and they had all that spectacle. That's why Taiwan had as many entrants as it did in the tournament I went to in Taiwan, even though they're all my age, because they grew up with the spectacle. For them, Virtua Fighter 2 and 3, right? Korea had similar. They had a spectacle of Virtua Fighter 2, 3, 4 as well, to a degree, but the arcades were already diminishing in Korea at that point. Right. But like, so, Sega Japan had been building Virtua Fighter with spectacle in mind. It's just that they had an environment where it made sense to them to focus on the competition, and that they had enough players and enough businessmen feeding into it, right? But I think even our interpretation of the businessmen's a little off. These are just day-to-day gamers that love to play, but in their spare time, that's what they do. But it's like, in Japan, almost everybody I've met has got 3 lives, right? They've got like family and friends. They've got work, which takes a huge chunk. And then they've got their hobby, which like the other 2 don't intersect with the hobby. The hobby is its own life. And so, you might be friends with like a CEO, but you're probably not going to get connected because you're friends through the hobby. For something like that.
I hear that.
Which is so interesting, because in in the States, that's going to be so different. Like, if you're friends with the CEO, you're going to eventually maybe have a connection that helps you professionally in some capacity. So that's actually super fascinating.
Yeah. It's interesting too, and I also want you to answer that question too, because obviously, I made contact with you when you took your brief foray into Tekken. You played Tekken in the past. You're like, all right, cool. Let me work on my content creation game. New Tekken game is out. Let me play this. Let me learn something, and then maybe come back with some skills. Right? You left Tekken at a great time. Good choice. But excellent choices being made. But I'm curious to know, but you've experienced what I think is a sort of overly simplified ranking system, and obviously you knew where you were coming from. So, but even though it was overly simplified, it was still frustrating, because learning a fighting game is still frustrating, right? So you still lose a lot. You still have to go into lab and find out why you're losing. And so, I'm curious to know from your experience, like, again, comparing and contrasting, how do you feel about both Tekken's version, but also this tendency to want to make, say, the early rank experience as frictionless as possible, even if that means a later crash with reality. What's your take on that?
I think I've been watching you too, and how does it feel when you play? I'm answering your question, but also it's going to involve asking questions.
Well, of course, everyone asks questions.
How does it feel when you are fighting equally skilled players in Virtua Fighter?
There is nothing more fun than fighting equally skilled players, up or down, right? +1, -1. Playing someone who's way better than you is its own fun challenge in small doses. Because like, all right, cool, I'm gonna get licking, but let me try and do this. But like, yeah, the game really comes alive when you are playing someone at your skill level, whether you're a noob, intermediate, advanced. I assume like there's nothing like it. It's the best. It's the best.
So perfect, because like you're the player, you are that player that would be the person the game's trying to entice to play, right? With the rank system. Now, the rank system we have Virtua Fighter is pretty useless right at the moment because it's for people who are starting off because there's not enough people in it.
Right. So
that's the problem. But the higher ranks is a lot of fun because we can fight people who are close to our skill generally. So I think a rank system doesn't need to create like a artificial crash or artificial dopamine rush by giving like rank or like belts.
Right.
You could think from like a actual martial art framework. The thrill of fighting games is playing someone close to your skill. That's what it has to do. Yeah. And if a rank system is able to do that well, which very few do, I hear, I'm not good enough at Street Fighter to be able to say, but Street Fighter Master Rank is pretty good, apparently. It's pretty accurate. If it is, or it's the best one, that's all you got to do. They don't have to do anything else other than that. I could make it proper.
No, I could speak to that because Street Fighter probably has my favorite rank system only because it combines what we're talking about. Everything up to master is basically like you can lose more games than win and still go up. There's win streak bonuses. Like it's very much gamified. It's very much trying to keep you grinding. What's interesting is that once you hit master rank, they throw all that out the window and they go, okay, it's straight up ELO. It's a straight up ELO system. For those of you familiar, for those in the chat who don't know, like an ELO system is basically everyone has, this is a simplified version, but everyone has a rating. And so whenever you play against someone, the amount of points you might win or lose depends on the rating of who you're up against. So if I'm a noob and I'm playing against a killer and I win, I get a ton of points because the system's like, you shouldn't have won that. That's incredible. And my opponent loses a bunch of points because like, oh, wow, we've clearly overestimated. Either we have overestimated the other person or we've underestimated Chad. Either way, we're going to bring them close to one another. And so you can have these wild swings. But what it means that your ELO score is typically a very accurate measure of the caliber of player you can consistently beat, which is like, in theory, what a rank system is supposed to be. If your ELO is 120, that lets you know that you are probably going to lose to someone who's 140 and you're probably going to beat someone who's 110, right? Like this is how it is. But what's interesting is that Street Fighter shields you from this until you reach master and lets you have that sort of like mostly upward trajectory grind. And then it becomes brutal, which maybe it's the best of both worlds, perhaps.
I think go ahead.
Go ahead, Tricky.
It's hard for me to speak to how it feels because I can only imagine. And as I think about my answer to your initial question of like, why do I play Virtua Fighter? What made me play it? I told you it was the one I was the best at. Like I felt like I was the best at this of all the fighting games. Whether I was or not, debatable.
But I felt like I was.
Exactly. So that's the feeling that needs to be created.
Yeah,
make the player feel like they're the best.
I want to pass it right back to you, but I just want to double click on that because I'm like, you're right. You don't have to be the best. You have to feel the best. You have to. A fighting game should make you feel like a badass. Like it shouldn't, and like coming in and losing your first 20 games is not a good feeling, right? Like it should make you feel like this game is awesome. I'm awesome. And what we're really debating is like methods of delivering that feeling. But you're right. It's the feeling awesome that's super key. But you had something you were about to say?
Yeah. So like that feeling doesn't have to be created through like the PNG changing. For instance, that feeling for me, because there was no PNG.
Right.
It was just knowing that like this dude's gonna walk off the machine. I'm gonna make him put another quarter in. And like that feels pretty cool. Did I win all the time? No, but I won enough that I was like, damn. And that's also how I pick my main too. Kind of to a degree. Like Jackie's actually who I won the most with, but I didn't like I didn't like his personality enough. Right. I thought I liked personality, but Eileen was like the second best. So I picked the main because that's who I had most success with. If people can feel like they're fighting similarly ranked players, they're going to have a success rate that's high enough to inherently reinforce continued play and like they're a badass.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And throw a few people that are a little below them, let them feel a little more badass like those people who are a little below. As long as there are enough of them, you're not going to be hammering the same person, right? You're going to be hammering across players so you can feel like really cool and really strong. And then once in a while you get like a really strong player and you'll be sacrificed to the gods of the battle so we can keep people playing the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Chacha?
That's what I think has to happen.
Yeah, I think the challenge is the, rank is such a brutal funnel. If we're thinking just of a rank mode. But we talked about the offline experience. Well, the offline experience, the ideal offline experience in the old arcade days too included, is you have a lot of collective playing. You want lots of people playing. And you want them all feeling progress.
Yeah.
I'm not, some level of participation trophy, but it's not exactly that. It's, we like the fight. We like fighting. This is fun to fight. And we are elevating. So the matchmaking serves a purpose for that elevation to get you to fight people closer to you.
Yes.
When we dumb it down into a rank system only as the only methods of doing it, this becomes the zero sum.
Right.
And as you do the zero sum part, this becomes about the elite few. And then some people lose this aspirational dream of being the elite few at some point because they realize how hard it is to climb. And now we want challenge. We want the game to keep challenging us. I'm not saying we're not going to make the game challenging, but the problem with the rank funnel, and if a game's online experience is only defined by its rank, that's not really fun, even for me.
Yeah.
In real life, we have different tournaments.
Yeah.
Tricky could be the winner of that tournament. I could be the winner of the other tournament.
Yeah.
The tournament winner could rotate, and in the moment, we'll feel like you're the winner. Okay, you're number one. You're number one. Okay, but and then we'll have the clash and we'll have storylines. We'll have all that, right? That's what tournaments do, because tournaments are like these events that happen, but they're not exactly like definitively you are absolutely the number one. The only reason we can say Tonchan's number one is because he's winning like all the tournaments,
multiple things,
all the things, right? Yeah. Like he's got to do it like a ton before now we're like, okay,
maybe he's the greatest.
Yeah,
right. It's like this is just like absurd, right?
Yeah.
But and so what I mean by that is that I do feel bad for the few. If we keep doing fighting games as just the rank mode, I don't think it's really good for fighting games. Period. Actually,
so true.
I think like the main engagement mode for multiplayer has to really get people just to keep playing and have fun. That's why sometimes I toss the idea, well, the main mode will also be, it's not exactly quick play, but it's not far off. It probably throws bots in if it has to. And it does give us a sense of progression. We're going to grow. We're going to hit levels up. But we're trying not so hard to be so FOMO either, because we're not going to be like, you got to log in every day. I'm not, just log in periodically. Play, have fun. But I think that's what's important. Even for me as a competitive player, I'm saying this. I do, now I do personally like ranked when I can make that. And I do want the people that whatever ranked corner there is, but the people that grind ranked, this is a real tiny minority of the player base.
Yeah.
But everybody imagines they're like represent the whole player base.
This is that last point is really true, and so I got into it was good spirited, but I got into this debate with Finn T, right? Big fan of Finn T, Tekken player, and we were talking about like ranked, and he is someone who very much believes in like ranked integrity, and he wants ranked to basically simulate as best as humanly possible. I want to steal Manny's position, like basically to simulate like tournament environment. It's first to two. You can't just leave after one, right? We're trying to find out who's the best out of us in like a locked thing, and he wants everyone who plays the system to be locked into the exact same unit of play. You are playing first to each time, right? And I understand where he's coming from, and I was like on the complete other end of the spectrum. I'm like, I feel like we're both looking at each other like you're missing the point. Because, for example, what I was trying to defend is back in T7, we had a rank system. But once it matched you up, you can just play as long as you wanted. Right? You just play against each other for as long as you wanted, right? And I felt like this was, for me, it was a sweet spot because once the game matched you up with someone of your equal skill level, you could just play, like I said, as long as you want. And it was just tons of fun. And yeah, there was still points on the line, so there was still some spice. But like, it was just the greatest. Whereas what we have now a lot of the time is, let's say the game matches me up with someone and it's a bad match. Yeah. I get beaten, and then okay, the next match. This is a really good match, but I can only play him twice, and I get kicked off. And like we're constantly this churn of going through player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4, player 5, and I'm like, I feel like you said something earlier was like fighting games aren't really about that. Fighting games are, I think, the best when you're having a meaningful interaction with another human being. And so the idea of a rank system matching me up with this random stranger, I'm like, oh, this was fun. Like I don't know your character, you don't know my character. Oh, we know each other's characters really well, and so we're just having a great time. I almost want it to match us up and then get out of the way. Right? Yeah. But again, I understand where Finn was coming from. It's like, yeah, but like, surely I have this competitive spirit. And I want a place to explore. And I'm like, no, I want you to have that too. But his position was like, Chad, you should go play quick match and let me have my thing. And I was like, no, you should go to locals and then let me have my thing. So we were arguing over what a rank. We were arguing over what a rank should be, and we both want each other to have what we want. But he's like, no, Chad, you go quick match. I'm like, no, you go to locals.
I have an answer.
It be funny if like things got funneled through like events though? Like we had an event, like a tournament. We had a team tournament. Mm-hmm. We had a monthly ladder. Right, mm-hmm. Ladders are a real good way to really see who's on top.
Sure,
you know,
mm-hmm. And they're low stakes all the time because. Oh, I think we lost.
No, he'll be back. No worries. But you were gonna say Tricky?
I think ladders are like we have a ladder for Enchant Chat's a part of it with the Kai, mm-hmm. the league. We have league battles mm-hmm. every weekend, and there's a ladder for that. Mm-hmm. You have to be consistent. It's low stakes in the sense that like nothing happens if you don't win. Mm-hmm. Nothing happens if you win. You get to brag about it, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And you really know you're really good because it's like it's not easy to win those all the time.
Right.
It could give Finn what he's looking for, mm-hmm. right? But leave the ranked. Give you what you're looking for, mm-hmm. and give Finn what he's looking for. Mm-hmm. So I'm more like Finn mm-hmm. in that regard. I do care about ranked integrity being in like. Good. That's why I have a 60K video about ranked mm-hmm, for Tekken and how horrible it was. Mm-hmm. Because I care about that stuff. Mm-hmm. I want to fight people who are close to my skill. That's a lot of fun for me when I want to do that. Mm-hmm. But I don't do that all the time.
Right.
I do that in spurts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's stressful. I can't do that all the time.
Right.
Sometimes I want to just relax and like play a long set with someone and just work on some stuff or just like chill and shoot. Like mm-hmm. the social aspect of this game.
Yeah.
Just hang out.
Yeah. There's a part of me that almost likes the idea of, because when I came to Virtua Fighter, I like the fact that there is no quick match. If you're going to be in the sorting algorithm, it is all ranked. I remember Finn pitched this to me years ago, and I was like, you're crazy. And as I've come to Virtua, I'm like, no, I like the idea of a single thing. But you could almost have like ranked events where it's like, okay, you're being from this time to this time in EU or this time and this time in America, you are being tracked. Like, this is like ranked. If you want to make your PNG go up, it's not about just playing nonstop at any given time. It's like, no, at set intervals, because it would turn it into like event gaming, right? I'm sure that there's some sort of engagement scientists being like, no, we want people to be able to just grind forever in their rooms. Capitalism must win. Just like, so right, exactly. I totally, there you go, exactly. I can totally understand like the addiction. No, people should just be able to grind as long as they want. I understand that. But
don't worry, Tricky and I both had our places high up on ranked in many different years.
No, for sure. But
myself included.
No, I hear that. I guess what I'm not even necessarily convinced that it is the right solution, but I do like the idea of like tournaments and like events where it's like, no, if you want, it's glory you want, all right, cool. This is where you go for that, and having it be limited, so you have to clear out time in your schedule to have that happen. I think that makes sense. I think there's a lot of wisdom there.
Mm-hmm. BF has that. You have tournament mode.
No, but that's separate though. You have to. Oh wait, tournament mode is. I didn't know.
There. So there is a tournament mode in VF. Mm-hmm. The downside is, if it can't have enough people in your region in the same tournament, you're going to end up on a global tournament with like I play with the Japanese. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the European person's in my tournament. Now that said, what are the benefits? Well, these tournaments only happen on a set schedule weekly. So this was started in Ultimate Showdown. And the benefit is, well, you get the glory. You'll get a title that lasts for 1 week, says you were first, second, or third in the tournament, in a tournament, and which level of tournament you were in. And then on top of that, you actually get a rank boost. So like your
Big
rank
one.
will like will be like stronger. So as a result, now it kind of works, but the problem with it is, again, funneling all the people around the world into a tournament and watch what happens there with the connections and everything.
It seems obvious that it would need to be region locked, right? It seems almost obvious, like time zone locked, region locked.
Time zone locked.
The problem was player based, right? So it's just
right. I hear it. Maybe in the future, but no, that totally makes sense. Where it would be like, okay, the North American tournament is like, let's say it's every 2 weeks, so it's like NA and Europe are having their tournament this week. South Asia, East Asia having their tournament, or Oceania is having their tournament this week. Like you could do it like that, and you could almost you could watch them too. Like there's a lot to be. One of the things I'm really thinking a lot about, like I said, when I first played fighting games, I was focused mostly on the software. And the older I get, the more that I become a content creator and meeting people, I'm like, no, it's more about community. And I'm hearing Sega talk so much about how they're going to innovate animations, which I love, and how they're going to innovate, perhaps learning the game, which I love. And I'm like, I've not heard enough. And again, maybe it'll come up, but I've not heard any video game company, a fighting game company, being like, hey, arcades are kind of dead, and we lost a lot there, and we can't bring it back. But is there something we could do to bring at least some of that sort of camaraderie, that sort of dojo spirit? Is there something we could do in the software to encourage some of that? And maybe there isn't an answer, but like I would love to see like game designer thought and effort pushed in that direction. And even just talking to you about like, no, having regular tournaments that are just happening on a schedule, and they boost your rank up majorly. And you can watch them. You can go into the lobby and watch the tournament taking place. And there's levels of tournaments so that you can happen like that. To me, sounds great. Like, hey, Chad, do you want to come and do this thing? Hey, sorry, I can't. I've got I've got the tournament 7 p.m. I'll see you afterwards. Like turning it into events could be massive.
No, definitely the tournament can improve, but they will. But I would say that if it were to run like it does currently as it exists, but during the launch of Crossroads, it would work because of the critical mass that Crossroads would have.
Sure.
But
still not
for
ideal.
About a year.
Right.
For a year, but beyond that, we have to solve problems that go beyond that. Of course.
Right.
Yeah, so two things, but one about the tournament setup or the tournament online thing. I other than it being region locked, I think it should have been time locked. So like the time, part of why it's so hard to get, like I can never compete in them because for some reason, I can't connect to folks who are in those tournaments, and it kicks you out the lobby at the moment when it's about to start. So you'll spend like 30 minutes waiting, and then you get kicked out. It's so frustrating. Like, forget this. It's wasting my time. But in Revo, I used to be able to do them. It was fun. Even if it was laggy. If it was time bound by like a regular reasonable hours, not like 2 a.m. on a weekday or
it was
3
kind of
a.m.
on 10 hours.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't 10 hours. It was clearly like they weren't focused on anything else other than Japan. And like that's fine for Japan, but they're not trying to do that for Crossroads.
Right.
They're trying to actually pay attention to maybe we should have regular times for people who can play, so that people can actually perform.
They will pay attention to East Coast time for sure.
Please! Oh my god!
Brace yourself.
Because that is a huge chunk. That's such a huge chunk. Is Eastern Standard Time, right? In the U.S., the population density is pretty all on the East Coast.
Right.
So,
Yeah, they do everything on the Pacific time. I'm like, Feb, you have. There's a reason why prime time is 8 p.m. Eastern time, because like for the entire like country, not just for anywhere else, because it's the timing. That's the timing bit. Second thing, how to build community in an alternative way of this game kind of forming. I've been listening really closely to the development and developers talk about they're integrating the fighting design with the story mode, with the adventure mode.
Yes, I heard this.
And they inform each other, right? What if, I think I posted a tweet about this, but I didn't fully flesh it out. What if basically VF5 Crossroads has like a Destiny-like format, where you have like raids, where you have team battles because when you see them fight multiple people, like one person fighting multiple people, you could have multiple players in that fighting together, kind of like Streets of Rage.
Okay.
And then that could be a boss battle, effectively.
I've seen that structure. Xenoverse does something like this. I think that's I think that's a lot of work.
Yes, it is.
And I think if I was a developer, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not budgeting that. Not because it's not a good idea, but I'm like, what they're trying to do already sounds so goddamn ambitious, Ricky. Like they want to create a single player RPG that is, even if you don't go online ever, you get this great game. They also want a great versus mode where two people can have just a straight up classic fight. They were even talking about another mode where you're not assessed by, they briefly mentioned it in like one of their last talks where they were like, it's not a knockout type thing, almost like a scoring system. They're not really revealing any information there. But my point is, like, to then add a sort of Streets of Rage, online co-op Streets of Rage, I'm like, I would actually be nervous if they announced that. I'm like, that would signal to me like, okay, scope creep. Like we're gonna end up in a Duke Nukem Forever type situation. Like again, not that it's a bad idea, but I'm like, ugh,
no, you're worried about it.
I would actually be worried at that point. I would actually be worried. Yeah, it would tip over from excitement to concern.
I only suggest it because of what I saw. From the like they already have the bones of it. It's already kind of in there. And what they already have in story mode, I would have said that's too much.
Yeah, I hear it.
For them to do, but they already got it.
No, I think I see what you mean, and I also like the fact I've been saying this for the longest time. Like you have, if you're going to sell a fighting game for $70 or $60, it has to have single player content that. It needs to be a piece of software such that even if I never go online, I get my money's worth. I think far too many fighting games are just like lobby, training, ranked. Okay, here you go, $70 piece. And you go, wait, what? Like that is or like 4-hour story mode, which is mostly cutscenes, like fights inside about cuts. I'm like, we're past that, fam. Like we're actually way past that. And Street Fighter 6 seemed to be actually. Let me take that back. Mortal Kombat kind of acknowledged this. They had very ambitious story modes. I think they were ahead of the curve.
Mortal Kombat's always been built on that idea.
For sure. Street Fighter was the first Japanese fighting game. I think company really be like, let's do it. And I think they've been rewarded handsomely. Sega seem like they're also going to do that. And I hope that this marks a sea change of fighting games as a thing. I hope that people talking about making a Dead or Alive or Bloody Roar being like, yeah, we can't just come out with lobbies, fam. Like, it's gotta be crazy. That being said, though, to go back to what you said about tag, though, Dead or Alive used to have tag. And
I like tag and Dead.
It's great. It's great fun. And I'm like, if we're talking about features that I'm like, I hopefully wouldn't be too much of a feature creep. I would love to be like, hey, me and Finty can go up against Tricky and Chan in a tag match. And when one person gets knocked out, the next one jumps in. That I think is within scope, and I think would be super exciting. And you could all of a sudden you have this new format where you could be like, yeah, there's your main ranked thing, but you could be like, hey, every Thursday, team tournament, let's go. And there's team belts. There's team belts for each region. Like who's playing for it? You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, imagine the content creator space. Okay, I'm not Ton-chan, but me and my boy, we're tag team champions over here. Like that could be just that stuff I want to say.
Go
ahead.
I've been excited for that, but the question in my mind is how's that playing out for 2XK?
That's the question, right? That's the question, exactly. Yeah. True. Do you have any insights into that? Because I've seen excitement for it, and I've seen a lot of people get into it because I'm a fighting game player, but my friend here only plays action games, but they're gonna buddy up with me, and when they get blown up, I'll cover. And there's a lot of that, but you're right. 2XKO is like the only source of resource, only place we could see how that works online. But we do know that it works offline because DOA tag it was missing in 6 and it was missed. And it just seems, like I said, if we're talking about how can we make bring the community sense, moving fighting games away from just being one stranger versus another stranger, I think is a key. And I think that would be a great one.
We all want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all want it. I think it's hard figuring out how it works. And at the same time, I do want it to be creator friendly because that would be hype and exciting, right? But it is hard to come up with. I mean, when I'm like, It's like, is it even possible to be able to just carry somebody in 2x KO? Because that game's like, I feel like once I tag my partner in, we're probably dead.
I have a second idea. I have another way they can do this, which would be closer to the Beat Tribe format. So Beat Tribe is
it's just concurrent one-on-ones, right?
Right, but it's 1-over-1 matches.
Right, 1-on-1 matches, yeah, exactly. But you're a team.
But again, looking at the footage of how quick you can go from one person to the next and the next, it looked like they're fighting people in succession.
Yeah.
And they just kind of turn and fight the next person.
And that's
fight the next person.
And that's the DOA model. DOA is not a tag fighter. It's always 1-on-1. It's just that when one person loses, the next person jumps in. So you're structurally still a 1-on-1 game, right? Go on.
But you can tag them in and out though. Like they have that, like the combo system changes because
you can have that. But I would be okay even if VF didn't do that. Like I don't necessarily need it to become a tag game. Literally just be 1-on-1. And only when one person gets knocked out, next person jumps in. Hell, maybe even have it survival mode. So it's like, okay, you still only have a fraction of the health. You know what I mean? So there's a tactical element as to do I go first or second? You know what I mean? Chanchai.
I really believe that they're going to have a team battle mode in the game. I mean, it doesn't solve everything, but I do believe they're definitely going to have it. Not from anything they've said, but because of how much the Japanese community demands it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of how much it means to them in their personal experience of Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
And how much they want to see people around the world experience Virtua Fighter in like a team battle.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they're really trying to think, how do we make this work? How do we get everyone to do it? And how does it just kind of work so it happens as opposed to like we have to schedule this or we have to, because it's hard to coordinate people that way.
Yeah.
Can we just get people to pick up and play and be in a team battle and have fun?
The reason why I think it would be difficult is just because obviously I'm not a game designer, but it seems clear that you don't want to have too many different waiting rooms, right? Because because then you're splitting your player base. And if the game becomes less popular, or even if it is popular, it becomes a real nightmare. So it seems clear to me that the ranked mode or the auto sorting should probably be one mode. And
or maybe like
go on.
Do you think it's possible, like Street Fighter 6's hub world, where people actually could, if they were actually physically able to just see, like, we're looking for a team.
You could do, right? Yeah, you could do it. So, like, if I go into lobbies, we can privately arrange a tag match all you want, right? Like, that could make sense, which is why I was thinking, like, yes, privately you can do tag matches. The online ranked mode or online quick match would probably just be 1-on-1s. But then, like I said, every Thursday or every Tuesday, there is a sort of a thing for prestige. And, like, that, and maybe even, like you're saying, both players get rank points, right? So even if I'm mostly a single player, but hey, do you want to team up for this thing on Thursday? We can get our ranks up. All right, let's go. Already, I was trying to form communities beyond just the software. I feel like,
so long as the rank doesn't get boosted too much.
Of course, you keep it in the window. You keep it in the window, yeah.
But we do have the good thing is team battle formats have evolved.
Yes,
and we now have formats that like where a person could carry a team if need be.
Yes.
Because it's going to boil down to that person being the last man standing, able to take down the rest of the team.
Yes. So. Have you seen how it works in team fencing? I didn't even know team fencing was a thing until I wrote a script for it.
I would like to know.
Team fencing is fascinating. So basically you play to a set number of, let's say numbers and letters, right? So A fights against 1. A fights against 1 and it's a first to 15 points. Right? And then the score then carries over when 2 and B play against each other, right? So you can end up in situations where player C is just out of it, right? Because they can't get in. Or you can have situations where it's like, it's not enough for me to win. I have to win by 4, or I have to limit you to 3 points. So you can have this interesting, dramatic situation where you're playing for points. So again, you could borrow from team fencing, which again, 1-on-1 sport, but you still have teams. I'm like, but again, that's just one instance you can go at, and then that's 3 people. So yeah, I really do think maybe 3 is too ambitious, way too much logistics. I think 2-on-2 is probably the sweet spot. But just thinking in those terms, I would just love to see that. And again, we're talking about a feature that they've not even said it's going to be in the game, but it's the kind of area that I want them to be thinking about. Sorry, I cut you off.
I feel like it's okay. I was trying to jump in. I feel like a dreamer here. So like, because I'm totally, I guess I haven't made it super clear yet, the idea. So the team thing, there's the way the Beat Tribe does it. I think the problem with Beat Tribe for maybe people who play it that way, or people who haven't been exposed to it yet, right? It's kind of slow. Even when I watch, it's really slow. There's a lot of downtime. It takes too long.
Yes,
like it's too slow. So, especially for a stream or a streamer, so like it won't do well as it exists right now. But if it's instead of a match you have to win, and then you go to the next person, it's a round. It's a single round, and then as soon as that round's over, the next player who's in the background, because you can kind of see it in the adventure mode, just runs up and like bam, boom, ready to go. No, ready to go. Just turns, boom, fights.
There's two things I want to say. I agree with you, but there's two things I want to say. One, I think there's inherently going to be less downtime if I'm playing at my PC and you're playing at your PC and everyone's playing at their PC. A large part of the turnaround in B-Tribe is you have to physically get up and move. That won't be that won't be an issue, right? So like you already skipped that, right? So I think that's a key thing. But yeah, I'm super excited about that. I think going round for round could be super interesting too, whether you're mixing and matching them. I think that's these are too granular. I'm almost not that I'm not interested in that, but I'm like,
it's not what you're focused on.
I'm more interested in the area because second thing you were talking about, like, the downtime being bad for streamers. I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. And
really? Okay.
So again, I've been making content for a while, and when I first started, I just made tutorial stuff, and my channel didn't move, and then I just started talking and having a personality mixed in with fighting games, and it turns out that when you watch a fighting game channel, you're not really just interested in watching people push buttons. You want push buttons and watch them complain about broken characters and have jokes with the chat and of everything else. So actually, game and downtime is actually a sweet spot mix, especially if I'm dual streaming. So let's say you and I are both on Twitch. We're on a team, right? You have your stream, I have my stream. We're both bantering and we're waiting for the thing. It's actually better, right? Like, so I actually think there is I don't think it's much of a downtime. When you're just watching, it sucks. But actually for content creation, I think a structured system that's like play, downtime, so long as it's not too much downtime, is actually even better than just a constant conveyor belt of match.
You know what? You're right. I'm with you.
100%.
I think you're 100% right.
Yeah, I agree. All my experience suggests that too, is that the downtime goes with content creation, with streaming. Really. It's just that, Tricky and I happen to be capable enough because of how much we've played VF and because of how much of a chatterbox we both can be, that we both are able to like comment while playing, right? And we also know how to operate those gears. Like I can, this is the limits of how I can fight while I'm talking, right. But it's working in this fight, so I can do it. And then you'll see me shut up the moment that
I need to.
That guy shows up. It's like, hi, everyone, shut up.
What are we doing?
Yeah, I hear it.
But and like Hearthstone was a great game for streamers because of the downtime of waiting for the opponent's whole turn to finish.
Yeah. I think that this is a key thing, and like to keep on, not to hop too much on content creation because I do want to move on to like sort of community manners and stuff. But I think this is a good area. Like I do. What do you think developers can do to help with content creators? So there's someone who's just come into Virtua Fighter 5. Again, I'm a tourist, right? So I want to speak to you guys. I came in at Revo. Revo was my entry point, and I was even just coming up with thumbnails. I was just being like, okay, I need to try and find high-res images. And it's really hard. Like, it's really hard. It's really hard to just find that stuff. And you do try to do the same thing for like Tekken. You can just find them, right? And so it's again, that stuff's kind of boring. That's more marketing area for them to think about.
It is a big
important
deal.
Though.
It's an important question, and it's an important question Sega is asking right now. Because Sega has stated, well, not Sega stated, it's been reported that supposedly Sega's current direction for marketing is aimed more at community going forward.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah.
And Tricky and I have definitely seen where it has been hard for us to get assets. It's also, we know that if we use certain assets or we use copy stuff from in-game, we probably won't be able to get Sega to repost that image.
Right.
So there's on one layer, there's rules about what you can put up there. On another layer, they provide some assets for us, but it's not exactly enough.
Right.
And then it makes me think, okay, how could they figure out in their organizational structure to get the right team, to get their graphics team to provide the stuff that content creators can use en masse, and something that they will actually use in their streams, because it would improve the quality of the content. It would speed up production just because it cuts out it cuts some of the time that the creator has to do trying to create these on their own, or finding an artist because they want it to actually be possible that it would get retweeted by Sega. You know, so this is a big thing, and it's like I definitely see structural challenges that have to be sorted, and I do see talents and skills that they do have, but again, those are leveraged talents and skills. So I can't barge in and say serve the content, us community members with your skills that you're already overloaded doing. But
sorry,
go ahead, because you have a lot to say, I think, on this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to piggyback. I want to stop your whole thing. I want to piggyback on what you just said before I forget, because I probably will. Which is the two bits you were talking about, the leveraging their like resources they already have that are limited potentially. Looking at Crossroads, they got some resources, got a lot of resources.
Yes.
So I think, and what we're talking about, I don't think it's actually a big ask. And really, we're doing free labor. We're doing free marketing. Help us do it. Please, love of God. It's a virtuous cycle.
But you're super correct. And it's, again, jumping into Virtua Fighter made me really retroactively understand the importance of content creators. And I know that sounds like we're blowing your own horn, but the thing is, when I think back to myself when I first played Tekken 7, I was like, if it wasn't for Eris, if it wasn't for Rip and Spaghetti Rip making tutorials and guides and explainers, and again, not just talking about like just raw software, but hey, here are the things that are going to frustrate you. Like just almost like just emotional prepping. Just, hey, these are things that suck. Hey, you're getting you're gonna deal with this. Like one of my favorites I ever saw, and I quote this all the time, is someone came in and was like, how do I deal with spam? And Ares kind of stopped them. It's like, there is no such thing as a spam. You need to know what is the actual move, because there is no set answer. Like if the thing you're dealing with is, this string from Dragunov, then the answer is this. If it's this thing from Horang, it's a different answer. So it's like, actually, the fact that you can't articulate the thing that's hitting you or the thing that's bothering you is the issue, right? And it was really, and again, people come to me years later now, taking, hey, how do I deal with spam? And I'm like, I need you to tell me what it is you have to deal with. But the person asking that question isn't stupid. It's a valid response, but he's helping you break down sort of like meta knowledge, which Sega just isn't going to be able to do. You need content creators or educators in any sort of skill-based thing if you're going to learn that stuff. And like I said, coming to Virtua Fighter, like I'm like, okay, I come in with my lunchbox and my first ready to school, and I jump in and I'm like, I have no idea what to do. And I was lucky enough to find you guys. But like, let's say you want to go to like a specific character, like I want to learn Brad. Okay, where do I find the combo? Like you have to go on this other thing, and it's like it sounds really mean or kind of offensive for me. This newcomer, this greenhorn, to come into the Virtua Fighter scene. No, but
we get it.
No, but I think I'm being like looking from the other. I'm trying to take the most pessimistic view of my approach. I could see the frustration of someone who loves this game, has been here for ages, and then some new guy comes along and being like, you guys make more content. I can totally understand that frustration, but I'm right though, because this game is beautiful, and you typically need an educator to help you get there. And my biggest frustration with Virtua Fighter, as someone new coming in, it's like, this game needs someone to show you the light. Once you're in, you're in. But like, you need someone to help you in. And the best example I could think of this is the Souls series. If you've ever played a Dark Souls or a Demon Souls, those games explain nothing. They explain nothing, and they're brutally hard. So why do they survive? They survived because actually, if you looked up the answers, there were people to give the answers. There was a whole universe of content creators and explainers and people coming in and sharing their frustration with a smile on their face, make you go, okay, cool. Like that's, and I'm like, Virtua Fighter, I guess, needs that more than anything.
Well, we should bring up also on the Souls really quick, that the Souls game itself inspires it. So how does it do it? Even Souls innovated by having the blood on the ground. When you see a blood on the ground, you touch it, suddenly you see a replay of somebody else who died.
Yes.
Right in front of you. And that's like, that was your content creator just showing you the way with their own death. And so that was innovated in Demon Souls, but that is the key feature in the series, is seeing that blood on the ground. And it implants the idea into the player. You could also tell other people how to get through this.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hadn't put that together, because I remember when I was watching, I went back to watch the 14-year-old video of, I used to watch a Giant Bombs video game website, and when Vinny Caravella is playing Demon's Souls for the first time, and he's trying to show his like other co-workers the game, and it's one of the funniest things, because it's like, are you enjoying the game? It's like, I think so. And watching them try to wrap their head around the Souls game when it first came, now we know the formula. But it's like, yeah, so if I die, you just start again at the level. Yeah. And you have to run all the way back to get your souls. Yeah. Okay. But the enemies respawn. Yeah. Okay. Is there regenerative health? No. And just explain, and this is fun. It's like, yes, asterisks. But it's like, because action RPGs at that point had been like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, where you're doing all this crazy stuff. But they gave it a chance, and a whole community of people gave it a chance, because it really was going against the design philosophy of video games at the time. It was often described as being backwards or archaic. What do you mean there's no regenerative health? What do you mean the enemy respawn every time you die? What do you mean? But they had the confidence to be like, no, there's a thing here, and there were enough people that went, no, this is correct, and it took time, and now it's one of the biggest franchises of all time. And I'm curious to know. A large part of that, I genuinely think, is not the software. I genuinely think a large part of that is just the community that formed around it. Because when you were confused, you were like, yeah, that boss killed me too. Well, here's how you beat him. Or and it's not gonna be easy, but here's what you need to know. And here's what you're looking for. And like you said, the blood trails probably primes people to want to help other people. Because when you know it's hard, it makes you feel less dumb for getting blown up. Right?
This is how you die.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, that's sort of go on, Tricky.
And you can join other people's games too, right?
That's true. That's true. You can.
It brought in the whole, you could invade their games.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. So if you're getting someone to help you, you might get invaded.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I would love, I know, future creep, whatever. I'm going to dream.
That's it.
What if VF had that? What if VFC had something like that?
How would it work? I'm listening.
Well, okay. So let's say if you're struggling with a battle, similar to the team battle setup, where
check out these
what?
Go ahead.
Well, check his replay.
I was gonna say, check out these replays of the guy who just beat you up. Watch how he gets beat up.
I'm thinking of single player. So I'm still thinking this is single player.
Okay. I see what you mean.
Cool.
And like, let's say you're struggling with a boss battle, for instance, because it's beating the crap out of you. Well, what if your friend joins it? I see. And helps you beat that level or that boss.
I think that, okay, I think that can work. I think that definitely can work. But here's the thing, and it goes back to what we were saying earlier. I actually want the single player mode to not be brutal, right? And I'll tell you why. Like we said at the very beginning of this chat, you need that initial 10, 20 hours to be a period where I feel like a badass. I am so good with Akira. I am so good with Paicha. I am godlike. And I think a great single player mode can give you that in spades. I beat the boss. I did this. And have it be tricky, like, but also have it be, like, for example, one of the ones I thought of was, I'm sure the throw system will be changed probably, but like, let's say there is a boss in the game and he has the Splash Mountain equivalent and it will kill you. If it lands once, it'll kill you. That would be very good. It's not actually a hard fight, but he has this one throw that'll kill you. And so the whole thing is like, you don't get to progress through story mode until you understand breaking forward throws. The rest of the fight is normal, but it's like until you've learned this specific skill, you will not get past this. And the whole game is like, yes, a lot of badassery, and then each boss is basically like a core skill you must learn. If you don't learn, you'll lose. But if you learn it, you'll walk it. And so by the time you've graduated from the story mode, you actually have experience of all the core skills. Still not going to be good, but you have the experience of all. So it is a tutorial and a story. So then now I'm like, I'm amazing. I can go online, and then you get blown up. But you've had the experience of being a badass, right? And I think, so for me, I almost would want story mode not to have that Souls energy. I want that to be the gaslighting of like, you are awesome, you are amazing, no one's ever accurate like you. And then, but also be teaching you. I think that would be awesome. So I don't know where the single player boss modes would come in. But what I thought you were going to say, Tricky, and where I'm actually super on board with that, is I do kind of like the idea of, if you lose to someone, this is now I'm going to be a feature creep.
Dream.
right?
Yes.
If I lose to someone, I want that the replay feature to not just be a replay feature, I want it to be a coach. I want it to be like, hey, you lost. This move killed you. Here is a move that you repeated, a mistake you repeated constantly. Because I think
we do want access to the analytics.
Absolutely. Because people keep talking about tutorials, and my pushback has been, I mean, I know Tekken 7 is not the perfect game, but like Tekken 7 didn't have tutorials. It was still blew out the water, right? In part because of the community. Yeah. But what you need is, it's less about teaching me stuff on the front end, but helping me understand on the back end. Because that's the most frustrating thing. When I lose, I'm like, okay, I don't know why I lost. But if you can watch it, like, hey, this guy Splash Mountained you constantly, and you didn't break once. And if you had just LTE'd forward, like, this whole thing would have gone very differently. And you'd be like, oh, I feel less salty about that loss now. Because I realize it's just a key thing. And that's always been my philosophy. And if you play against the best players in the world, I'd be like, hey, look, here's where you lost. So for me, the sort of my feature creep is like, I want the replay feature. Tekken kind of started to do this with like hey, you could have ducked that. Hey, you could have punished that. Here's a 12-frame punch. Here's your character specific 12-frame punch. That's good. But I'm like, okay, next level of that. We're like, hey, we've watched the match and we've realized that this counter, you lost the most health to this counter here. This specifically. Here, we've highlighted on the replay timeline in red all the times where this specific thing happens to you to really drill home the fact that you lost to this move, right? And so it's like, okay, I'm going to go away and focus on this specific thing. The ability to turn losses into improvement is alchemy that pro players have and like experienced fighting game players have and noobs don't have. And if the game can help you bridge that gap, well, that's what I want them to do. I really want that.
I like that.
But that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And it hasn't been done before, so it's a lot of design work.
It's some AI built in there, maybe.
Totally.
This is where AI might be useful.
It's super useful,
The other thing I'm thinking of, I feel like you're gonna say something, Chan Chai, too. So just briefly.
Okay,
PvP.
briefly. Just well, go ahead. What's that?
No, just I'll say my bit briefly, which is PvP in single player. So invading another player's game. Right?
That could be interesting. That could be interesting. Yeah, I like that. Run. Now we're talking. Because if it just turns the single player thing into a fighting game, sure. Like there's a badass in your version of Ranapur or whatever the name of the city is. And like he's invaded your town. I'm like, okay, cool. And you can opt in or opt out and you want to fight him. And then now we're talking. Now that's within future space. Because it's like
you're all walking around in the town. Like there are a bunch of maybe 4 of you, or maybe it could be more. And if you want to know each other, maybe you're all completing missions. Maybe you're all completing there are missions.
Yeah. That could be dope.
This is where I mean.
No, that could. Now I'm with you. That I think could be super dope. That I think it'd be a lot of fun.
From the images that were released, it does look like there's a mission structure to the game.
Yeah, totally.
And so because of that, that's where I'm connecting with what Tricky's saying. And I was like, okay, I can see them kind of doing some of that. Like we know that I definitely want this game to appeal to everyone, and that includes the people that only play single player games. I have a lot of friends that are.
Yes.
But I definitely hope it inspires them to like enjoy the combat next to where either they enjoy more single player, but hopefully they enjoy the multiplayer eventually. But
like a GTA Online, effectively, which is a forever game. I mean, they're trying. I think I heard them say they're trying to make a forever game, or I've heard Yamada say he likes forever games himself, which typically means that you want to make it. And I can see the bones. If they do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, VF is a forever game. It already is.
Right. Yeah. But it's worth noting that.
How do we make it a forever, quote unquote, forever supporting game?
Thank you. That's another thing. But more than that, I just think people like us for whom their forever game can literally just be fighting someone one-on-one. We're a rare bracket. Like they're actually in the grand scheme of things, the number of people who are willing to make any fighting game, regardless of quality, their forever game is a small pool, which is why, again, like Chanchai was saying that, like, we want this game to just be like, even if you're never going to play an online match, you can get a full $70 worth experience. I'm like, yes, that has to be the case. Because if you're trying to appeal to people like us who are willing to have the single player game be their forever game, okay, there's 6 of us, and we're getting older, so it's a bad area to invest in.
we're like the 0.2%. You know?
Yeah, totally. Right. But that concept of forever game and trying to turn how do we make our fighting game a forever game for people, I think is key. I think, like I said, Street Fighter 6 kind of started to show that with their open world thing, and the idea, if hopefully every few months it's new stories, new missions or whatever, you could have that. So you can have an entire VF population who never play ranked, never play versus, but they have a character they love, and they love this game, and like that could be great. And like, again, no one thought Grand Theft Auto would be that. Grand Theft Auto for the longest time was just single player story mode, you do your thing, and then it branched out and created this whole nother thing. So now the single player thing is almost like a sideshow, and I'm like, that is fascinating. And I think that's I kind of want that. Yeah, me too. I want that. Yes, give me a great training mode, great versus mode, great combat mechanics. Give me everything that we want in a fighting game, and then invest all the resources on entertaining everyone else and getting 10% of them to come join us. And then everyone wins. Then everyone, because then you don't have to dumb down the combat system, because it's only really for a small percentage of us. The people who want a casual power fantasy can have that. But at the same time, you have a pipeline that can turn a noob into a contender, into a Virtua Fighter over time if they want it. If you're a Virtua Fighter content creator, you can be like, hey, you know what? I don't feel like playing ranked today. I'm going to go do this other thing. Oh, every month there's a new quest line. Vanessa wants you to go pick up her groceries. Sure, Vanessa, anything you say, right? Like that, I think is, I think that's the future. And as not famously, funnily enough, you know how a lot of companies have been investing large in their sort of, what's it called? Games as service, and a lot of them are crashing. And Sega, exactly. Sega were like, yeah, we had an idea for a forever game, but we've looked at the track record. We're stepping away from that. I'm hoping they could be like, okay, but we can turn our multiplayer franchises into that. We don't have to invest all the way in. We can kind of have the best of both worlds here. And I think that's the future for me personally. I would love to see that. And it seems like that's what they're going for. Go on.
To make it a game where so like my ideal also is a single player person can play single player, and like that's all they got to do ever. I play MMOs. I love MMOs.
Me too. Historically, what's that?
Historically as well. What was that?
What was the drink?
This is the non-alcoholic Choya. So.
I gotta buy that. I didn't know they had that. DM me that so I can buy it.
Don't tell Haya. Don't tell Haya.
I want to drink that. PvE mode. So like group-based PvE.
Yes.
Virtua Fighter.
The classic of MMOs. Yeah.
Yes, I think I would love for VF Crossroads. I don't know how they're doing it, but I have a feeling they're doing
real
this.
Crossroads mode.
For real, you're a genius.
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like that sense of like, okay, instead of me having to, a way I can play this fighting game with my friends without me having to beat them up or be beaten up. Because a lot of people are like, obviously we have an attitude of like, we can handle conflict in a psychologically healthy way and we're down with that. There's a lot of people being like, I don't come to video games for conflict. I have that in my own life. Like I want to be able to escape, but I would like to be able to play with my friends. The idea of like, hey, me and my other friends, we're all going to beat up, like you said, beat up the boss. So we're going to do this tag run. I understand what you mean. I don't know how they implement it, but you're right. That is the kind of direction that fighting games needs to move in. Because it needs to move away from just versus. Like we're past that now. So I know what you mean. I don't know how they'll do it.
Everybody's congregating in this rough town, in this rough setting. You know,
we're just gonna come in. We got in.
Films is like, here's my gang and here's.
I love the idea of gangs. I want to have the Hopkick City Dojo. Gotta rock up to the tricky dojo. I want the camera to zoom in on our eyes as we look at each other across it. Like, I want poor dubbing. I want more 70s kung fu movie dubbing as we challenge each other. Like I said my strongest student to beat your strongest student. Your strongest student breaks my student's back, and the camera just looks at me, and I was like, disapprovingly, yes.
That said, we're being greedy gamers and dreamers here, but it would be amazing if it turns out that's what they're doing. Super amazing.
No, of course. Again, the details. We're dreaming on the details, but just in terms of what we hope to capture, I think is we need to broaden the appeal of fighting games. It cannot just be like, hey, this is a piece of software where you can just fight against another person. One of you wins, one of you loses. We have to move past that as a genre, and it seems clear that they've learned that. The details, I trust Sega. They seem to know what they're doing. The final point I wanted to get to, or I say final point, but really the main point I really wanted to discuss here was, so VF community is awesome. Obviously, there's bad apples in any community, but VF community is small and awesome, and those two things are linked, right? I often find it's easy to have a great community when it's small because everyone knows each other, and that fact holds everyone accountable. It's kind of like how anonymity often makes people behave worse. Well, it works in the inverse too, because everyone knows everyone. It incentivizes you to behave better because it just does. And so this is a great incentive loop. But as VF Crossroads comes out, and it's clear this is going to set the world on fire. It is clear. The fighting game community, fighting game world is going to be looking at this with fresh eyes. Japan's going to jump on this wholesale, and a lot of the West is going to jump on wholesale too. The community will shift in some ways, and the real thing I want to talk to you about is how do I want to frame this for the real meat of this discussion. What is it about the VF community you hope to preserve? And how, if at all, is it possible for those already in the community to go about doing that, to preserving what is worth preserving about the community, and also sharing it in a healthy way with the influx of people that are obviously going to want to partake in VF, rightfully so. Like, how do we manage that and not fall into the trap of greenlighting? What's the word I'm looking for? Okay, not gaslighting. What's the word? Gatekeeping. Sorry. No, fall into the trap of gatekeeping and be like, oh, you're not one of us. If you've not been playing since VF4, you're not welcome. But at the same time, having a sense of like, hey, we don't do that here. Like, that's not cool. How, if at all, again, the answer might be it's not possible. But how, if at all, do you old heads, right, with the most skin in the game, hope to manage that? Either one of you want to take that away first, but I want to hear both of your takes.
Want to go first, Chanchai? I know you probably have a lot.
Sure. So my view on this is that the Virtua Fighter has had different levels of success, and it has had a large community. And what Tricky has said before is very true in the sense that we've had a diverse community. Obviously, in the West, it's not the biggest community, but it's been big enough to where we've seen it all over many generations, and I've seen the generation changes, and that affects too. So what I would say is that when you try to start saying that your values is stronger, when you try to say, hey, what we've got is so special, and we want to preserve it, that is kind of a form of gatekeeping in itself. And now that said, I embrace the diversity. And as somebody who has employed many different people, I have had a diverse staff, and I've definitely managed the challenges of having a diverse staff. I've had to explain different, like, one employee who comes from a different culture than some of the other employees, and how they misunderstood that person's, like, for example, this one employee is like, I'm doing my job, don't do my job, right? But my culture, I'm actually training everybody to collaborate all the time. But this person doesn't, right? And then I told everyone, well, I want you to, in this particular case, we're going to work with this coworker because we know that they do the good job. We know that they mean well. But I could also tell you about friends that I grew up with where as soon as I start washing dishes, there's one friend where I do that in their house, and maybe it's more Asian, and they're like, see what your friend's doing? You should do that too, right? Right. I go to another friend's house, and the mom says, don't do my dishes. I'm the host. Let me do the dishes. And then I go to another friend's house, and this one is more of an urban environment, and the mom is like, what the hell is wrong with you that you're not doing the dishes and your friend's doing your job? So when I explained this to my staff, they started to understand this other guy saying, don't do my job. This is what Chanchai wants me to do. Right. You know? Yeah. And then they kind of say, okay, we think we understand, and it helps clear. But that's because with diversity, we all bring different things to the table. In Virtua Fighter community, we've definitely dealt with diversity. And we've dealt with people that want to hype things up. We've dealt with bad actors. The funny thing with the bad actors, though, some of them are the type who don't want to talk to people. So they just are in their corner and they just want to jump on ranked and then say something private.
Right.
Like, whatever.
Right.
Some people, your concern is probably more of the social media effect, because the community will always, no matter the size of the community, there will always be this concern about outsiders harvesting what they want from our community. Right. They'll be like, these social media guys, and I can admit that sometimes people are protective of their community. So sometimes our community and others too will go, what's this tech influencer trying to tell me how to do my content? Right. And I think, and it's easy to misunderstand. I think the conversation is important. I think I embrace the diversity and the challenges that it comes with. Right. And what I would say is that just leading by example as best we can.
Yeah.
We are welcome to create different community spaces that do align with philosophies. That'll happen, whether it's a Discord or Tricky's stream. But I also do like that this game is a I'm going to be corny here, but it is a crossroads for all these different cultures, right? I mean, I have to be patient with the UK guys in my Discord server, because in the community Discord server, because they bring more of like that pub talking culture. Right. And to me, like, I might take them too seriously. And it's like, no, these guys are just shooting the shit, right? And I'm being unfair to them because I'm taking them at their word a little too much, and I'm trying to hold them accountable for what they're saying. And it's me being a little too serious because that's just not how I talk in my spheres, right? And so, but I got to respect that that's their culture and that's their diversity. And try to go past that and understand what exactly are they saying. And if I think it gets into bullying, then I step in and go, hey guys, I think we're getting to bullying territory. Right. Yeah, I think we're picking on somebody too much, and it's like, we never should be picking on somebody that we think is not strong, but you guys are kind of talking about someone you perceive as not strong. Right. But we also don't like it when the strong guy is talking down to everybody, and we don't want to do that either. So sometimes that's where Chanchai comes in and goes, hey, I think, like, I respect what everyone wants to say, but I just try to bring the reasonableness in there, and know that sometimes I use my voice because some other people might not. And then I get private messages saying, thanks for saying what you said. But I think no matter what community I'm in a lot of them. No matter what community I do have to deal with this, and just within my sphere. And so I just try to affect positive change with my positivity. It doesn't mean I think I'm more right. I don't. But I am trying to be productive, and I try to remind people, for me, it's like, this is love of the game, so I'm always going to bring that up, and I'm always going to focus on that. Now, that also means that I tend to be more tolerant of people that you might not want to be tolerant with. I've had, those people do come into my stream, and I go, okay, you can stay here. Like, we're not going to get into the beef, like, because I don't care. Like, that's you and the other person. But if you want to play, we play. Just be respectful. That's all I ask. And I've seen Tricky handle it really well. I've seen Tricky handle someone who didn't really want to be the most civil with Tricky, and yet at the same time did want Tricky's help. And Tricky just goes, why are you making it weird? It's just like without acknowledging exactly without directly getting into it, just saying, it doesn't need to be weird. Like, what do you want me to help with?
I think people, just to briefly intersect before I pass it to Tricky, like, I people underestimate the power of just like, why are you making it weird? Or like, just be cool. Like, just the power to just be cool. Like, two people having a massive fight, and then rather than reprimanding them and like, hey, guys, be cool. And that's it. Nothing else. Oftentimes, nothing else has been, hey, are you being cool right now? Be cool. Be cool. And the power of just be cool is underestimated.
We're here to appreciate the game. We don't need to have that sick feeling in your stomach for 2 weeks, right? I don't need that.
No one wants that. And so I'll jump in on this. So like, I think Janjai and I have very similar methods. I think there may be differences in how that stuff comes to us, right? So for me, I'm often the target of these nonsensical nonsense. So I've had to deal with it, actually. And it's how you deal with it when you're the one being targeted is very different than when you're like a bystander or a supporter, right? Like, it's, if you're being harassed, you can't just say nothing. you can't just let those people be around because they're harassing you. Like, by definition, you can't be like, oh yeah, all the people hang around. Like, no, these motherfuckers smack me in the face. What the hell am I supposed to do here? You can't just let people just smack me in the face. So I gotta stop that, or let them see the door on their own, or I'll make them show the door. Find the door. Now that I have enough influence and power to do that effectively, and I try to wield that very responsibly, because I understand I do have influence, I do have power, and I get that, and I'm glad I do, because it lets me set a norm to a degree in the places and with the people in spaces that I think are trying to be open, basically. Like, I'm tolerant of different cultures. Like, you can be diverse culturally. I don't think that, from where I see, the conflict that I kind of shut down it's more a matter of, like, within a culture, bigotry. Like, that's the problem that I see, like, over and over again. And I see it in other fighting games too. And even some of the toxicity you see, like, between players of other games.
Yeah.
Some of that I think you could also boil down to a variation or a consequence of the pecking order, of the power structure that one is trying to say, I'm better than you. You're not as good as I am. You're not worth as much as I am. So I'm going to belittle you, make you small, make you unimportant, and make myself bigger. And by making you small, by pushing you down, by bullying you, or making you seem like you're an idiot or you're a bad player, which what you're doing, that's going to make me seem and feel better socially. To me, theoretically, also, this is underlying bigotry too. Like, that's just one of the functions that bigotry serves for folks who feel like they don't have any power. So I think these folks who do this actually feel quite helpless and quite weak and quite inept and impotent. I use all those pretty rough words because I think that's true. That's why they're doing it. People who are confident, people who are doing well don't do these things. Basically.
Yeah. No, to interrupt. I'm sure that there's more to say. But that last point, that people who are truly confident, I totally know this. I've seen this countless times. The people who are truly confident seldom feel the need to punch down, tell anyone how great they are. Like, you realize that so much of it is compensatory bravado for power that isn't there, but you wish it was. And like, I've totally seen that, because again, we've all met genuinely impressive people, and not to say that they're always nice, right? But they are typically, but they don't feel the need to compare themselves to you at all, because they genuinely, those who feel the need to assert they are better than you are secretly concerned that they aren't, and are trying to make it so. Whereas those who know that they are better than you feel no need to like create the comparison. Does that make sense?
Well, I would add though that because we've all dealt with all types of people, all of us. Yeah. But I've in my customer service background, I've dealt with a lot of people very high up and very low down, and all in between, right? And what I would say is that I keep bringing up like connectedness. I keep bringing up like this thing that we do together.
Yeah.
And this is the optimist in me. Of course, when safety is a concern, things go out the window. Okay, so safety concern, we're gonna break the glass. Okay, but what I will say is a lot of times there is a disconnect up and down. Right, people that are way up here might be way disconnected from everyone else. Right, and that's where we talk about them possibly being out of touch and stuff. But in that disconnectedness, that's where I've seen misunderstandings happen. That's where I've seen their form of bigotry kind of creep up, right? People that are not exposed to people of different cultures, or someone that's what they think is a direct contrast to their culture, might have interesting, weird ideas about them, right? And especially when we're talking about gender and everything else, same thing, right? In my area, if you go to a local, you are going to be playing fighting games with the trans. Okay, I'm just saying that.
You can't ignore it.
You cannot ignore it at this point. it's a we have a very, very diverse fighting game community in my area.
Yeah.
And also when you go to events, that's unavoidable. It's definitely there, right? I'm pretty sure when you went to Combo Breaker, even, right?
Trans woman organizes the events. Like
right.
one of the partners of Evo is a trans woman, and like multiple people who run and are behind the scenes of making the tournaments that we all go to
North America.
In North America, specifically, are trans women.
North America right now.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the Evo circuit is run not only, but one of the members and part of the team are quite a few trans women. So, like, it's delusional to not acknowledge that as a player base and to not be like, hey guys, chill out. Like, you clearly don't go to tournaments. You clearly don't care about the actual scene, because the actual physical in-person scene is all of us together chilling and having a great time.
But here's the issue, right? Like, once upon a time, the online scene was an offshoot of the real scene, which was the offline. Offline scene.
Right.
So whatever the cultural norms were, what the offline scene leaked out to the online. So even if I had never played in an arcade in LA, right? Because all of the content creators I watched grew up in that crucible, their habits were my habits. Why am I such a stickler for you got to finish the set? Because because you finished the set, that was just the rule, and I enforce it as though it's gospel, right? But that was transmitted to me by the generation of people who I looked up to and with the tutorials, so I just enforce it, right? That's kind of how culture is transmitted, right? So it's really interesting to say that. So you're like, okay, well, the real fighting game community in local scene is extremely. You're right. No, you're right. Sorry, the physical, the local, the local. No, you're right. I'm not trying to make that claim, right? Because I'm from the online scene. I've never been a local person, so I guess I have right?
No, online counts.
Where everybody's from and what they represent,
right? But the point go.
My belief is that focusing on that, this activity we're doing together and what we love the game,
right?
And you might not love each other, but you might learn to appreciate each other. Maybe not. But
you just can't hate each other.
But when you do, So when you do so I've seen people. It's not that I expect people to change their core beliefs or their values. I really don't. What I have seen is some of them, at least, adopt some of the more norms and start going like. Suddenly, the person who was really like anti. starts telling me, oh hey, you misgendered that person. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And we work it out, right? It's the person that I least expected.
But I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's the point. Because at the beginning, I wrote this down because I didn't want to cut off your flow. Because one of the things you said is that you are rightfully, I think righteously, reluctant to gatekeep. And you are very suspicious of anyone who wants to gatekeep. I think that's a correct instinct to have. I think, though, as someone who has moved from one fighting game to another and seen communities, I know that what Virtua Fighter has is special. You're right to say, as from the inside, being like, oh, we're special and that is very arrogant and big-headed. You're right. But let me tell you, as someone who has come from the outside, what you have is special, right? And so, and not only that, I have watched communities that were once special and awesome degrade. So, but what does it mean to degrade? And that's why I like your second example there at about, okay, all cultures, whether you want to be a police officer of the culture, whether you want to be a gatekeeper, whatever, a culture will form, whether you want it to or not. If there are humans involved, a culture will form, right? And so, and my point is, if you take your hand off the steering wheel, that doesn't mean that what will happen is this naturally occurring beautiful culture. Even the examples you gave, earlier, you were like, okay, I have the wisdom to give the British guys who are doing their British banter some grace, but you also still have your hand on the steering wheel to be like, okay, but now we've led into bullying, right? So you'll still have the leadership position to do that. And the point is, limits do have to be set up, right? Like outer limits have to be set up, and typically people need to be the ones to go, no, that's not cool. And what happens is, as you've noticed, when you are in a culture, because we're all social creatures, the culture you are in changes you for good or ill. And so likely, you might have someone who had never encountered a trans person ever in their life, and then they have this like hardcore, hard-edged political view. I don't like this. I don't like this. Then they actually have a human experience where they meet 1, 2, 3 trans people. and they realize that they're good people, they treat them well. All of a sudden, they now feel like this genuine human. Again, it's why I really don't like politics and because we often get taught in these ideas and these ideologies where you realize that on the human to human level, people who are on opposite ends of the political spectrum, if they just were human with each other, would often get on great, right? And oftentimes the real failing is failing to just treat other humans as they would want to be treated, or they've just gone, you are in group X, which means that I no longer have to treat you with the same level of, let's say, respect or grace that I would treat people in group Y. The group is irrelevant, whether it's black, white, Asian, whether it's man, woman, cis, trans. It's actually irrelevant, right? It's that happens a lot. And obviously, the three of us, we all know that I don't care what your politics is. You treat me well, right? You treat each other well. That's the thing. But those norms will be set, by people. Well, and I think that's ultimately what I'm trying to have a conscious conversation about.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge, though, is there's a responsibility. Well, it doesn't have to be, but there's a responsibility to having some kind of authority. What is authority? Authority is power that people give you because they believe in you for some reason.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tricky uses her authority in a great way. I like it. I use my authority the best way I think I can, and many people would characterize me as aggressively neutral.
I think that worked well for you, though.
It made me laugh really hard when I first heard it. I laughed really hard when somebody accused me.
That is so. That is not how I would describe you, but I love it. I love it.
But it was but it's because they know that I have my opinions and my views, and I even lean towards those. I have leanings. But they also know that I act against those when I'm trying to think of the group and I'm thinking outside of that. Yeah.
Can I
Tricky knows because she's heard me even be aggressively neutral on her.
Can I challenge you there, Chenchai? Because I think aggressive. What was it you said? Aggressively neutral. I think that's so funny. Yeah. I don't think that I would describe that, because I think oftentimes what people might dismiss from you as neutrality, I would actually describe far more graciously as you are diplomatic. You are not naive enough to think that my worldview is the worldview shared by everyone on the planet. And the second someone comes out who exhibits views or behaviors that are outside of that, I'm not going to be like, that's wrong. You kind of be like, look, there is an outer limit. So long as you don't cross that line, I don't care. Right? Yeah. I don't care. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care I don't care. We play the game, we're all good. So if you don't cross that line, we're all good. So, but that's not, I don't call that neutral, because you still have that outer limit. I think that's diplomacy, and it's a great skill to be diplomatic. And you could also be like, hey, I know that you two don't like one another. I get that. We're here to play BF. If you can't put it aside, get out. Respectfully. You can come back tomorrow or next week, right? You can come back next week, but like, you're harshing the vibe. It's diplomacy. Because we have to keep this, like, this is Switzerland right now. You don't disrupt Switzerland. I don't care that you guys are at war. I don't care. It's Switzerland. Leave that outside or leave. Both are valid. Right.
And I think the part that can be hard to do, I'm not saying this is thing Chenchai struggles with, like I'm not saying that at all, is, let's say one player will keep the peace, but another player won't.
Now what?
Right. That's the spot that
We've had those spots.
This is our failure point. This is where, if we become toxic when new people come in, this is how that will happen. Because people have a really hard time being like, this person's acting like an asshole. The other person isn't really responding at all, or maybe is actually eventually acting human and it's like is reacting. Clearly, that's, don't be a jerk. But like, if someone's constantly not letting it go, right? And what do you do then? When do you eject or show the person, hey, I get you don't like so-and-so? You're now creating a problem because they're actually leaving you alone. They're not bothering you. But this is also the other part where I guess maybe Chenchai and I disagree a little bit on this, or aggressively neutral bit pops up, is what if, from perspective, because I'm a psychologist, I can hold all those perspectives and like work through them and be like, okay, what's the logical endpoint here of this way of this worldview, of this way of feeling? What if the other person's existence is actually the offensive part to them? So like for them, you being as you are, just being is the offense. For them, they're justified in attacking. Right.
But even then, I actually think that diplomacy can cover this. I'll give you the great example.
I think so too.
I'll give you my example. I was having one of my favorite conversations I think I've had online in years was with a ethno-nationalist in my stream. He loves my stream. Jesus. Right? Jesus, when you hear ethno-nationalist, you think like hateful person. Here's the irony. He's one of these people who's like, I think we're being ethnically replaced. I think we're I think we have to start obviously regulate who can come in, but also maybe even some people have to leave. Like he's having like these views that are that are, let's say, they're third rail issues. Here's the thing though. He's discussing them civilly. He is being respectful, and I'm like, we can have this conversation. I'm like, if you have this conversation in good faith, I'll have this conversation in good faith. If, however, his energy was like, your black ass shouldn't be able to vote, I'd be like, all right, look, we're having a but if he's like, hey, I think we need to have a conversation about like, we have to recognize that there is an ethnic nation to it. Like, my point is, you can have complex conversations civilly, right? And I often think that it is diplomacy is about conduct. I have no interest in policing your beliefs, right? But how you treat another person, I absolutely will police. It's out of order. So when to go back to what you're saying about my issue might be your existence. Look, if I meet someone who's like, I don't like black people, I'm like, that's cool. I don't need you to like me. You still just have to treat me with respect. That's it. Like that's fine, right? And the thing is, I think there's an art in diplomacy. Like I forget my analogy, but someone was explaining that the concept of balance is often seen as a passive thing. But in order to balance, you often have to move a lot to maintain balance, right? Diplomacy is actually a really difficult skill. A lot of work to maintain balance. So from the outside, you might look like you're not moving or you're being passive or you're being neutral. But there's a lot of work required, actually, to be able to be diplomatic and hit. This is why I found the term aggressively neutral so funny, because the term aggressive is keeping track of the fact that, no, you're clearly moving, right? Like, you're clearly moving to maintain it. But it's like, but neutral is the wrong word. But Tricky makes a really good point. Tricky has a really good point about like, okay, but what if someone's red line is simply your existence or a group you happen to belong to? But I think all of us would agree that, okay, but like if your position is I am allowed to treat you poorly because you belong to this ethnic group, gender, nationality, or whatever, we all agree like, no, because you're breaking the conduct rule. You have to treat them with respect, regardless. I was
going to say, their conduct is going to find them the door.
That's the thing. So that's the point. So so my point is, this is covered. This is already covered if we are stringent about our conduct.
But
let's hear it.
This is where there has been failures within the scene already. Like because we don't. We don't show them the door. We still play with them. We still engage with them, and like sometimes the reform is needed.
We're talking about though.
Yeah, again, we don't need to know names or anything, but give us examples just so we can help draw lines.
Are we talking about? We're talking about. Like, are we talking about a venue, or are we talking about?
That's a good question. Yeah. I'm talking about maybe online. Let's say online spaces because
I'm honestly going to play with anybody, to be honest. And
I hear that. I hear that. And I'm not saying don't play with people. What I'm saying is, what does showing the door mean?
Right. What
if you still play with them?
Right. Okay.
Right. Like that's not showing the door. Yeah. Necessarily.
But help us draw the line. Help us draw the line, Tricky. Like so. Again, that's why I want to have the conversation so we could like sort of like okay, enhance. Right. So like, what are you talking about? Like, give me like examples.
I'm trying not to be super specific.
Again, it doesn't have to be a specific person. Right? Of course.
So what kind of example would be helpful? Because I can only think of specific ones.
I'll give you a broad. Or let me give you a hypothetical one. Just to again, this hasn't happened to me. I don't play, but I'm thinking more. I'm thinking more in the online space. Yeah. Let's say we're having a stream, and someone comes in and says, I don't know, just black people are inferior to every other group. Let's say it is a neutral statement, right? Neutral statement. There's no curse words in it. It's going to get past the profanity filter. It's just but it's a bold proclamation, right? An inflammatory proclamation. Yeah. I'm going to read that. And my child would be like, what is the motive for that message? I believe you believe that. Sure. What am I meant to do with that information, right? I'm not even the kind of person, again, someone's like instant ban. I wouldn't even necessarily ban them. I would just be like, what is the purpose of this? Because if the purpose of this is to have an intellectual conversation about race and IQ or whatever, that's great. This ain't the venue for that. Please go somewhere else. Right. Respectfully, right?
Right.
If, however, your intention is to intentionally cause hurt, anger, all the more reason why you have to leave. The point I'm trying to make is that, like, I as a person, I'm like, like I said, my rule is always about conduct. So it's like, you can have positions that I think are unpleasant and views that are unpleasant. But if you are enforcing that unpleasantness on other people, that's where I'm like, you got to get out of here, right? And so that's where it gets tricky. So I don't know if you had a concrete example.
I think each domain has its criteria. Okay, and so my stream is going to have criteria. And tournaments are going to have a certain criteria.
Yes,
online events have certain criteria.
Sure.
And so those are the criteria I follow. If we're talking about the greater community, I'm not one to really outcast anybody from the community. That's where I'm aggressively neutral.
Right.
Is that like I'm like, at some point this guy may get a clue, maybe they won't.
Right.
But they better behave when they're interacting within whatever domain they're interacting in.
Right.
One-on-one with me, they can tell me whatever. I'll probably be patient and listen to whatever, even all the word stuff they can say.
Right.
But that's the domain between our conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
But in a public space, though, I will tell them, hey, you're this, like, I probably can't have you on the stream anymore if you're going to act like this.
But even so,
that's the
line.
And here's the thing: a lot of people, though, a lot of the people that I could characterize as bigots. Here's what I would say, though: a lot of times when you confront them with it directly, and you say, "Hey, you want to get in this event?" They're like, "Yeah, you got to promise me this, this, and this because that's what's required. That's the domain. This is the conduct role." They'll honestly tell you, yeah, I can't do that. And you're like, I'm sorry.
Then you gotta go. No, exactly. No hate. Exactly. No hate. No anger. Just like, hey, look, you can't meet the requirement. Yeah, of course.
And in an actual physical place, of course, we're gonna think about the security. And like, hey, because of the way you act, I had to talk to others because if a chunk of us don't feel comfortable about it, we just have to say we don't feel safe and we can't have you here.
Sure.
Yeah. Period.
Sure.
And then, so that's where I that's where I would do that. But that one does go by committee because I'm not the only organizer.
Right.
But I would definitely tell them, I think these people I think there's a reasonable caution of serious risk here.
Yeah.
And we have to really talk about this because, and we have to be upfront because we know that if we do let this person in, a certain section of the community is not going to feel safe. We have to tell them. We have to let that we've allowed this person.
Right.
So like, or the other way.
So in essence, Chanta, you do the thing I ask you to do. Actually.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. Yeah. You do it already.
So case by case basis. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I'm talking about the situation where like the case where this is the thing to do, right? Like I'm not saying like the edge case. Like no, this is the situation where it's now we've crossed the line. They need to go. They need to be communicated in a way that is, done basically. Like you do that.
I'm the type who but I also do the diplomatic steps of trying to create a bridge to communication.
Of course,
because I've been in a position at a professional event where I've actually where somebody harassed someone, and the harassed was actually concerned about this person that was coming to the event, and so I talked to the organizer, talked to everyone, I talked to the harassed, and I talked to the harasser, and I told them, I was like, "Hey, you harasser, I want you to understand, like, I'm putting my neck out for you. So here's what I've talked to everybody involved here, and this is what I talked about. I've talked to the person that you harassed, and you're gonna like, you harassed her, right?" It's like, yeah. I was like, I know that was online. This is all the conditions. I'm gonna have a security on you, and I gave him the full rundown. And I was like, if you break any of this, you're out. Will you agree to this? And he said he promised he will abide by everything, and he did. And then I talked, and I did. That wasn't the end. I talked to the person that was harassed.
Like,
this is what he's promised me. This is all the things we put in place.
That's why you're the go, Chan. That's why you're the go. It's diplomacy, though.
You're doing it.
Right, but you're doing exactly it. That's why you're the go. It's diplomacy.
I do all these things.
Yeah, 100%. That's awesome.
Yes. That so like you do the thing already. Yeah. I think the thing you might think we're asking you to do is not what we're actually asking you to do because you're doing it.
Yeah.
So whatever it is you think we're saying, it's not that because you're doing the thing already.
No, 100%. Okay. No, honestly, let me just. No. I know you're not, but just to jump on that, like I've had multiple people. I go every time I'm about to raid Chanchai. I go. I genuinely say this. I go. We're gonna go raid Chanchai, one of my favorite channels. Take your shoes off at the door. It's a great space. Don't fuck it up. You made me look bad. because right? No, but generally because it's a great space. It's like be on your best fucking behavior. All right? Like obviously you can have fun and relax, but it's a really good space. Don't fuck it up. It's like the Mecca. It's like the Mecca in there. I generally always tell my chat like, don't fuck it up. Right? If you want to be an asshole, go to higher stream. Let's go be assholes in higher stream. Like, that's where you go. If you want to be a ruckus asshole, that's where I go. If I want to be a ruckus asshole, that's where I go. Right? But if I want to be in a cool space,
we're the non-alcoholic choyo.
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah,
but if I want to be in like a studious space, a supportive space, I'm like that's like there is a presumption of supportiveness in a Chanchai stream that I adore. And I, by the way, I try to have, like, for example, I've been having lobbies. I have loser stays on lobbies. Because I want the noobs to get more games, right? I'm like, this is because I'm getting on it. I want to get more games. Like, it's a loot stays on lobby. Like, I like, but again, it's
awesome.
But partially inspired by you, Chanchai. Because I'm like, oh, it's so rare to have environments where it's like, hey, this is like an incubator for like talent and skill. I'm like, there isn't enough of that. I'm like, oh, if there's not enough of that, then I must contribute. It's so needed. Yeah. And again, that's what I'm trying to be like, okay, how do we get more of that? How do we, so I to what Tricky's saying, like, we're not asking you to do anything different. What we're asking is how do we reproduce what you're doing on scale? Because it's rare across the fighting game stream, at least in the West. It's rare. How do we get that on scale? Because your stream is one of my favorites, and I'm constantly telling people like, it's so good. Honestly, even if you're watching this, even if you don't care about fighting game or VF, just go to a Chanchai stream. Just lurk and just see how people conduct themselves, see what it's like, and see if you don't find yourself buying Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, it's such a good space. And like that's the thing where when you have enforced norms, right?
That's the thing, enforced norms, yeah.
And across our multiple content creator spaces, there are norms. Like they have your norms, my norms, Chad's norms, Haya's norms. And they all kind of broadly are under similar umbrellas. Some things are a little more loose in certain areas here and there, but broadly speaking, there's a space for most people that I can think of, and those that aren't in our mainstream spaces, I should say, have actually a space too, where they can feel like, I would say, maybe quarantined in a sense, because I think quarantine's actually useful. Like they need a space, because they're gonna make a space regardless. So give them a space, give them a place where they can like do their thing and feel comfortable with each other. But like, just say the F over there.
I'm a fan of, for all of my adult life. I've heard people constantly talking about safe spaces, and I'm glad they exist. But I have advocated for unsafe spaces for most of my adult life. I want to have a place where I can just F and blind and be politically incorrect and not have to worry about people's feelings. At the same time, I also know that
those are another type of safe space.
But you're right. But you're right. Exactly. But you're right. Kind of. Yeah. It's safe to be provocative, I suppose. You're 100% right. But
it's a courageous space.
Feelings, we'll call it unsafe space.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Let me maintain my illusion, Cha-Cha.
You're being courageous in those spaces.
They might not like it if we call it flaming space, but
there you go. No, but this is the thing, though, right? Because I think what happens is, let's say pre-internet or pre-social media, we've recognized that different spaces have different rules, different norms, right? What's happened is that there has been, in the internet, there's been an attempt by various forces like Google, YouTube, and regulators and moderators and blah, 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 to try to force everyone to share the same cultural expectations. And that's been harsh, right? Because obviously, if you side outside of that, because of your views on issue X, issue Y, you kind of feel like you're being ostracized from everything on the internet. And so I'm a big fan of like, no, this is a space where we can be like my favorite example of this, I was part of the Tekken was part of the Leo Discord. And then I joined there was another one called the Leo Discord Underground. Let me tell you, the Leo Discord Underground was run by a person called Nazi Leo.
Oh no.
Okay? Right? But the point I'm trying to make is I'm glad both existed. Because, by the way, he wasn't actual Nazi, right? He wasn't. It was edgy. It was 4chan humor. But this is the point, though. Like, it was the sense of, like, you have, like, oh, yeah, don't worry, I'm not part of that, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, yeah, he's like, oh, wait, I'm learning about chat. He's going to pull out a copy of Mein Kampf. No, but what I mean, though, is, like, there is a place where, okay, in this one community, we keep things HR approved. And you need that to be a mass space. And, like, here, super inappropriate humor. Like, we're just going for it, and that's fine. That's valid too. And I would be very angry if anyone tried to shut that place down. But I also recognize that, like Tricky said, you got to quarantine it. you got to have your separate thing.
Yeah, community needs the diverse spaces.
Absolutely, right? Yeah,
100% agree with that. Yeah. And that includes even folks who like have views that I consider to be reprehensible, right? Like because those people exist. Yeah. As long as they can keep it to themselves, I don't care. But the problem is some of them can't.
Yes.
And for those who cannot, stay in your corner and don't bother us. Leave us alone.
Right. Yeah.
And the problem is some of them don't. They don't leave us alone.
Right.
So like those, that's the problem we're gonna have to face as we get new players. I just literally saw this in the Reddit on Virtua Fighter, like 2 days ago, or yesterday. Zero Chan posted like for Pride, like Happy Pride, and it's a picture of like Vanessa and Sarah kissing each other. And it's like not super graphic, it's just two people kissing. It's fan art. It's our first ship art, actually. So congratulations, we're now actually a proper fandom on the internet.
We got shippers. You're not a fandom unless you got shippers. It's true.
You really are.
It's true.
And the first discourse was a lot of like homophobia, just like rampant. And I was like, holy crap. We've been having these people think that we're going to be okay with them just openly being this way in our community. So I had to go through and like remove comments. One person got banned after being kind of, talked to a couple of times. I mean, Chan, it's not a secret. Like, I'm a mod. I run that Discord. Franchise a part of the Discord. Actually, Chad, you're actually a mod too. You are a mod as well. We're all mods there. But like it was not super active. The Mog's a great mod. Part of that, he's very active and deals with a lot of these harassment kind of things. But what ended up happening is we need to kind of clear out some folks who had shown up that really weren't about like the community, and just were like, I can't stand that there are these people.
But you should use the Bob excuse, on the Reddit. You should just go like, when they reply back, why'd you ban me? It's like, oh, we thought you were just like another one of those bots that's like rage bait.
That's pretty good.
And then they have to explain themselves, and then now you got a criteria for them to figure out their way back.
I thought you were a bot. But that's a really good example, though, because what we're talking about is the idea of, okay, everyone is allowed to have their own spaces where they do their own thing. But then we have to have like this communal spaces that we all share. And we have to keep that communal space somewhat neutral. But there is no such thing as neutral. It too is going to have its It too is going to have its own leanings and taboos and that's, I guess, in some ways what I'm more interested in. We all agree. Let people have unsafe spaces. We love them. I'll be in many of them. The point is, though, okay, what is the norm currently for VF? Right. I mean, it's so small. It's kind of hard to say what it is.
Actually, it's segmented in different places, though. Right. I mean, because the community Discord has its own culture.
Right.
Of course, the official Discord people are going to be on a better behavior there.
Sure.
Though some of it doesn't stop them from whining, but
sure.
but they'll do that. But the Reddit's going to have its own series of cultures.
Right.
And then in Facebook, we got Virtual Revival Group, which is like the opposite of the Discord group. And it's really friendly in there. So, so that one's got
a friendly Facebook group? Say that. Since when?
That one is really friendly. Like, it's really friendly.
I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear that.
The most positive place that I've seen. Yeah.
Whoa. Go check it out.
And then, but I think, of course, you're probably worried about X because Actually, Virtua Fighter X is generally pretty good in my view.
Dope as hell. I love it.
It's like really good. And so like, but of course that's gonna be your like that's ground zero.
That's because there's 6 people playing VF right
now.
That's
your ground zero, and like when people touching the crossroads, right? That like that X will become like the word. And honestly, I actually when I talk to Tekken friends at locals, I make a distinction between social media Tekken and my friends that play Tekken.
Yeah, fair.
Because no, that said, that's not to. But I also, but I think you represent a lot of people's views, including those views at locals. For you in particular, because I think you're very nuanced in your view. Like you're very honest about what you like and what you don't like, and it's not just all hate and it's not all just jumping on what everyone's pissed off about.
I mean,
but I think in social media.
I guess both of us, but like,
yeah.
But I think Tekken is like the best example of this, right? Because I jumped in at 7, so I'm actually part of a large new intake. Obviously, it's 10 years ago now, but like new intake at the time, right?
Oh no, but right? They're considered the gen also,
right?
Because there's the people that are before 7.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's my point, right? So even I am kind of part of the new gen, and I've watched it shift dramatically in the time I've been here, and not necessarily for the better. And there's lots of different reasons for that, lots of different theories. In fact, one of my favorite theories, actually Finn is in the chat right now, morning Finn, but like one of the things that Finn pointed out was he had this theory, and I dismissed it at the time, but he was so right. He was saying that we award the rank of Tekken God or Tekken King or these high titles to people at like intermediate levels of skill. And so this is like a Dunning-Kruger creation machine, because it allows a lot of people who perhaps are not as knowledgeable about it to think, well, I'm a Tekken King, right? Whereas what I like about, maybe it's different, maybe I'm just projecting because I'm new to VF. When I play VF, I know my level. I'm like, I'm better than these guys. I'm way worse than these guys. And it's a lot of fun. And the system kind of lets me know. And obviously it's a bit goofed. It's a bit jank in Virtua Fighter because there's fewer people. So obviously there are some people who have low ranks, but they just joined later, so they couldn't play up. So you can't judge it as much. But like I feel like there is, you can let me know if you agree or disagree. Tricky will probably know the best because you've played both ranked for a long time. But like, I feel like the Dunning-Kruger is far greater in Tekken than it is in VF.
Yes.
I think it's strong in Tekken, but I think it's because Tekken is amazing at its reward structure as a gameplay. I think like Tekken is really good at helping the player figure out what they need to do to improve. And then as they improve, as they overcome that challenge, because it's so direct in your face, like this is probably what you're doing wrong.
Right.
And you kind of, and I think it's a little easier to follow the breadcrumbs towards improvement.
Yes.
Whereas in Virtua Fighter, it's easy to be lost because it feels chaotic at first.
Yes.
But like Tekken, it's like walking upstairs.
Yes.
It's like, oh, you're not good at guard punishing. Oh, now you're not good at whiff punishing. Oh, now, it just feels Tekken does that for about like 70% of the journey so well.
No,
I
that's
think
fair.
Because of that, it's easier to have a Dunning-Kruger because you've become a self-taught expert in your view. And you are, and you're better than most people that play Tekken.
Yeah.
You might not be, and Elite has like a steeper steps.
Yes, sure.
But
sure.
So the Dunning-Kruger effect becomes really strong because you've earned that right to feel like you've really improved because you have.
Yeah.
I think VF throws you in chaos right away. That this game if there's something about the community one, is that the Virtua Fighter community, I think the game is so humbling.
Yes.
That's kind of what people are desperate to feel that fight as strong or stronger than themselves in the game.
You are, that is so true. And I wasn't sure if it would sound like I'm glazing too much, but I'm glad that you said that. I do feel that, how do I put this? In Tekken 7, Tekken 7 was not a perfect game by any means. But I feel like
here, I'm just
no worries. Do what you gotta do. I feel like all fighting games incentivize certain mental tendencies, right? And Tekken 7 incentivized sharp defensive knowledge and punished you for reckless offense. It punished you for reckless offense. This, I think, has a psychological effect on the type of players who stay with the game, for one thing, who become addicted to it, and like that has an effect. Tekken 8.
Because you're good or you're stupid.
Right.
You're good or you're stupid.
Right. Totally. Right. But Tekken 8, ironically, Tekken 8 incentivizes, I think, again, I'll try and steel man the position, but incentivizes aggression, and like, and asserting your like strategic will constantly, right? Because you just have to. It's a very, when I'm at my most pessimistic, I would call it narcissistic, but I'm being more generous. So it's more about enforcing your own will on your opponent. And I think this too incentivizes a type of play, a type of player, a type of behavior. To compare and contrast this to Virtua Fighter. What does Virtua Fighter incentivize? Virtua Fighter, I think, weirdly incentivizes, empathy is not the right word, but you have to pay attention to what, the most important thing is what is your opponent doing? At every level, from beginning to intermediate to high, the most important thing, like the thing I'm constantly telling people when they're learning VF is like, what should I do when I'm here? Like, the thing you do is the thing that beats what your opponent is going to do. There is no universal best option. There are things that are better than others, safer than others, yes. But like typically it is like and because of this forced focus on what the other person is trying to do, I think, again, I could be projecting, but I think it rewards and incentivizes not necessarily empathy, because obviously there's lots of like non-empathetic people who play all kinds of 3D fighting games, but like it incentivizes a sense of theory of mind, right? There's a lot of theory of mind. You have to be thinking about what the other person is thinking, and I think it's go on.
I think you said it in a video before. It's forced interaction. It's like real direct. But go ahead. I'm sorry with what you're saying.
I want to hear you. I've said my place. Go ahead.
But it's forced interaction, right? It's not like you're winning as a one-player game. You're winning as a two-player game, and that's not a diss on Tekken. It's just that there is merit to the whole. You know, when you play Tekken, if you're not defending, you probably are stupid. Right. or like to a degree, until we get to the point where we've earned both the players' respect. And now we're going into much more detailed knowledge and much more detailed ways of approaching this and attacking tempo. And Tekken gets very deep. It does. It gets very deep. But in Virtua Fighter, it is like I'm just standing here guarding and throw skipping. Why do you keep losing? Because he keeps throwing you. You know? It's like, you know? And it's like, yeah, but I'm doing the throw skip. Well, yeah, but you could also attack.
Yeah.
You know?
I keep throwing rock. Why am I losing? It's like, I don't know, Chief. A mystery for our time.
No, and then it's like, this stupid game, I can't react break throws.
Yeah, totally. No,
it's like you can react break throws with an attack.
Yeah, exactly, totally. No, it's so true, and it's but again, not to turn it into a pooping on Tekken, because I do that a lot. But the point I'm trying to make is that software can affect the player base, the behavior of the player base is what I'm trying to say. Obviously, software affects players, but it affects the mindset and the take of players. And I'm increasingly of the belief of this, as the more I play VF, the more I speak to the people at the height of VF. You speak to the people at the highest echelons of this game. Yeah, they're so chill for the most part. Like, at least that I've met. And I'm like, how?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Even Tonchan. Even when he's bragging on stage, talk to him in person, he's very chill.
But even when he's bragging on stage, he's bragging to his friends, right? Because
he's saying it as a fact, but he's also playing. The part too. But he wants everyone to get stronger too. He's totally. Like, hey guys, come take this from me, you know.
And that's another thing that I've noticed about the VF community that is so. Yeah, VF players want other people to get strong. Whereas I feel that Tekken players just want to keep punching down. I'm generalizing, of course. There are Tekken educators, there's PDX, and of course. But there is this broader sense of like the best VF players want you to get better so that the game is even more fun. Like never when I'm playing against Tricky or Gentleman Thief, or the few times I'm playing against other or Marley J, like really strong players, they are always actively wanting me to get better. They'll beat me up and be like, here's why. Don't let me get away with that. Like, and that tendency does exist in the Tekken community too, with certain players and as well. I don't want to make it sound like it doesn't exist, but like there is a higher level of that baseline I've noticed with VF, and maybe just because you have a smaller player base, right? So that's a part of it too.
So here's the thing. Actually, there's something I've been wanting to say, and I'm going to also shout out to what you're saying though about that the top players in VF, and it could be in Type 2, they want someone to keep challenging them. They want the, because they want to have fun with VF. Now, I'm going to segue into something I've been wanting to say for a bit that I think is really important here for the topic of toxicity and community and social media. Okay. Here's what I believe, and here's what I've seen, even since I was working as a teenager. All of the crank calls I had to deal with. Okay. In the 90s, if you forgot what a crank call is. But in my view, the biggest source of drama, toxicity in a passion space, like a hobby space, like our games like Tekken or Virtua Fighter, and I think this is true almost everywhere, is boredom. When everyone gets bored, when the Discord gets bored, when your social group gets bored, this is when people start trying to start whining like crazy. This is when people start, if the top players get bored enough, this is where they start quitting the game eventually. Look, teenagers, I'm going to start with teenagers, but this doesn't apply as much anymore as it used to. I'll tell a story that I've said even on my streams, which is, in the 90s, I worked in restaurants. So, of course, I have to deal with crank calls. And the crank calls are all bored teenagers. Okay. In mid-2000s, I'm like running a World of Warcraft guild, right? And actually, at that time, a popular policy in many guilds is not to allow people under the age of 18.
Right.
And I allowed all ages, but I just said everybody mature. And I talked to anyone who wasn't. But the reason that rule existed was because back then it was really easy to tell somebody that was a teenager that was under the age of 18 because they were like a bored teenager. I would say by 2012, it feels like the world changed, though. Because by 2012, I feel like online, I started seeing the adults fighting with the children, and now you couldn't tell who was who. Now everybody was fighting with each other over small things online. At the same time, maybe at that time, we also had a great privilege because I think there were things that were pretty good for the internet feeling open still. And it felt like things were for the customer, so the everyday person, right? And now I'm not trying to get this political, but what I mean by that is that then in that time too, it can get easy to get bored. And when people get bored, drama happens. If you get bored at church, the ladies start gossiping about who knows what. If you've worked with schools, I think, and schools, when those kids get bored, what happens, right? The big thing is, so where does that boredom come from? It comes from different things. If people want to support the game, but they aren't enjoying playing it, maybe that happens.
Clearly.
If the community is not changing, like keeping it fresh or stuff like that, right? But our community does get bored, and it definitely that's where its drama is. It's just that it's really small, as you said, because it is a small community.
Right.
So that gets kind of like where everybody else gets sick of it. The hard part, though, is that most people are also lurkers. Most people are. Just like the elite players make a tiny percent, the hardcore grinders, rank grinders, is a tiny percent. When you go even on Discord communities, and I've been doing a lot of both online and offline, so I know this for sure. When I go to events, I meet people and they tell me how much they appreciate my posts and everything. And they're people you never heard of because they don't say anything. They just they're in the Discord, they're on the social media, but they don't reply or post. And for 20 years, I've had that experience. Because I've been active that long, where a lot of people tell me how much they appreciate what I do. And I'd never heard of them because they don't post, right? It's the same like in the communities, but the hard part is humans have a negativity bias. And so we tend to talk about negatives. It's easier for us to talk about our worst restaurant experience and maybe our absolute best restaurant experience, but we could probably talk about 10 bad restaurants experience over like 10 good restaurant experience. For a lot of people, maybe not everyone.
No, but I know what you mean,
And so I think that's the thing where we manage. But I think for me personally, in my personal space, it's just appeal to humanity and appeal to, it's like, what is it that we want? What is our goals? And then find a way to talk about that in positive terms. Not to dismiss the complaints, because I definitely listen to them. But if we only drop complaints, that's where we get into that cycle where everyone it's just finding something to pile on, and suddenly we've got a bunch of bored people ripping on something because maybe they want to praise. I think there's a lot to praise, to be honest, about for other games.
No, I think that's I think that's fair, and it's embarrassing that it's only when you said it that I really kind of recognized that a lot of the maybe even the vast majority of the toxicity I complain about with the Tekken community is just the software. Like people were just genuinely unhappy with the game. And then that led to all kinds of negative interactions, which begat more negative interactions, and then you fast forward a year and the community looks very different. Maybe your favorite content creators aren't making content anymore, and the drama content to tutorial content has shifted. Right,
there's something they desperately do want. It's not working out that way. Yeah, and software development is not that fast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, but it's just I've said this before. Actually, I don't know if I've said it on stream before, but like I remember when I first started playing Tekken 8, I was in a really dark spot in my life, and Tekken really helped me. Not just the game, but the people. And there's a part of me that feels this almost religious desire to give that to more people. Like there's someone watching this right now who is unemployed, they lost their dream job, they lost their dream girl, whatever, and they're just throwing themselves into a game. And then my dumb voice in a void talking about this stuff helps them. I know this to be true because that's where I was, which is why I'm very reluctant to be bad to people, because I would hate to like add another burden to someone who's going through a really hard time, even if it's just a flippant thing. So I'll rib people stuff, but like I'm never going to be too harsh. It happens a lot, and but it saddens me watching. I feel like there were a lot of people that gave that to me in Tekken 7. And I think what I'm really sad about, and it is sad, it's no longer anger. It really is sad that like that isn't being given to a whole new generation of people. And frankly, a lot of the people coming up now go on.
Well, I mean, I do want to try to be fair to Tekken here, that I think most people that play Tekken are really enjoying it. But people at a certain level and up that's where
maybe
it is, because it's competitive.
That's fair.
What were you gonna say, Trick?
That's fair.
I hate to interrupt. I have to actually pack.
No worries. No worries. Oh, you're going to Evo?
3.5 hours.
You're going to Evo?
Awesome trip.
You're going to Evo, right?
I gotta wash my hair. Going to Evo Vegas.
Hey, no way.
I gotta wash my hair. I wanted to curl them. I hope I have enough time. I'm gonna probably be in a train in the plane in curls.
We've been yapping for 2 hours 15. We're pretty much wrapping it up. Oh, it's a pretty good set. Don't worry. So it's 5 a.m. on my end. So no worries. Was there anything before you go, because you have to go? Was there anything you wanted to say on top of what has been said, and parting thoughts?
Yeah. Parting thoughts is, I mean, don't be weird. And
be cool.
Don't be weird, and things will be great in the scene. And so long as we keep doing what we've been doing in the scene, which is when people are being weird, we're like, hey, yo, chill out. And most of the time, people will chill out. And if they're not, they get quarantined. Yeah. Or I guess deplatformed in a sense. Like, sure. They don't show up on streams, they don't show up at events because they've become a problem. Sure. And like that can be enough a lot of times. And not to say there aren't, like, rehabilitation is important. Sure. So like having avenues for growth,
it's really important,
is key, which is why like when Jack does, like, I still have contact with so many folks, I'm like, that's fine. Because that gives a person who might be able to help them rehabilitate a connection, right? Because people become more radicalized in isolation, so they have someone connecting them. It helps them chill out.
Be cool.
That's the goal. Be cool. Don't be weird. And VF is awesome. And VFC is going to be so freaking good.
I can't wait.
Like,
I can't wait. You think that shows anything at Evo?
I'm going to say we're going to see Eileen.
Oh, look at you! You really are dreaming. Then again, she's young enough. She absolutely should be in the new one. She's young enough. Yeah, keep the dream alive. No, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Or that green business suit chick or NB or whatever they are.
A lot of people are really interested in that person.
I think I'm thinking Aoi. There's a part, I don't know why. There's a part of me I'm reading Aoi. I'm not saying that, sorry, I take it back. I'm not saying that she's Aoi. I'm saying that she is the Aikido practitioner. There's a part sorry, that's what I mean. Sorry. I don't mean she's Aoi. No, I'm thinking she is the Aikido practitioner. I'm reading there's something about her.
You're gonna see the worst parts of the internet's come out if it turns out that's how you know.
True.
It's gonna cause a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
I was thinking she could maybe be the daughter of Aoi and Brad, because I don't think Brad's going to be in the next version. I don't think Brad's going to be here.
Sure, maybe.
I don't think we're gonna, because CeeLo has a lot of his moves. I'm seeing a lot of his moves anyway.
There's a lot of Vanessa too. Offensive stance.
It's a lot of both. Yeah. It looks like they integrated those two fighting styles into one character.
I could see it.
A cohesive character this time, opposed to like two separate stances.
Yeah.
So like she could be Aoi's daughter.
Yeah.
Or something completely different, and I'm totally off base.
No,
I think it's still good.
No, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm super excited.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna go
in a bit.
Try and get my hair done. I've been trying to do it for like all week.
We'll be rooting for you.
I haven't. I have 3 hours now. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for
having me. Have a good night.
Go on.
Yeah. And a lot of people that are acting weird is because they're bored too.
I mean that's a funny one. Yeah, a lot of people are acting weird because they're bored, but then a lot of people are just socially awkward. So, for example, I play Dungeons and Dragons, which has a reputation for having a lot of socially awkward people, and it's true. And one of the funny things when you're a dungeon master is you kind of you have these 5 other humans who all have this experience that you need to provide, and like, or you're working as a team to provide, and like you are both storyteller and like table diplomat and rules judge. Right? So there's a lot of roles you have to play, and there's a large part of that sort of role is like learning to manage people. And sometimes, someone will say something really blunt, and it'll catch you off guard, and your initial response is, "Oh, that was really rude." But no. I'm assuming that it would be rude if it came from someone who was socially well trained. But coming from you, that is just how you deliver the information, right? And so when you play D&D long enough, you kind of learn to assume the best. I assume ignorance before malice. Typically, I typically be like, "Oh, you just lack the linguistic sophistication required to communicate this thought in a respectful way." Like I usually assume that first. I know if it's a recurring thing, then I have a word with them. Like, "Hey, did you know you came across that way?" But yeah, I'm awarding them a lot of grace. But again, all geek hobbies are like that, right? People who are more thing focused than people focused tend to gravitate towards hobbies. So you're gonna have a lot of that in fighting games. And yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult, and which is why I have a high tolerance for people sort of acting out in the fighting game community. So long as like, how do I put this? So long as there is a baseline respect for each other, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing I'm insistent on. And I've encountered that in spades in VF, and I really just hope you have this in perpetuity, because I think VF is just so good. It's so good. Community is so good. I really feel that way. Okay. But yeah, did you have any parting thoughts before we end?
No, I appreciate you inviting us for this discussion. I enjoyed this discussion very much, and I appreciate your concern as well. I think I am very optimistic because I'm, it's just community, but I also know this is up to like a newer generation as well. And is with this game is that it completely wins a whole new generation.
Yeah,
so, I want I want it to be multi-generational, so I want all of us to enjoy this game. But I really also want to see a new generation. I think a lot of VF players have a similar background as me. Kind of, some of us have this kind of hope too. It's kind of what's expressed a lot more in Asia, I think, where you just want to see this game do amazing.
Yeah.
That said, absolutely, I want it to be an amazing competitive game for me. But I also personally feel that Virtua Fighter has already given me a lot, so I want to see it give a little more.
Totally.
In the community, I do believe in the community, but I also think it's just, like the diversity is good ultimately. And I think the community will be fine as long as the game is doing fine or is. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
If the game is doing well, people do well. I do think Tekken's actually doing well. It's just more that, again, it's probably harder for some of the most passionate of the fan base because of what their desire, what they see Tekken can be for them.
Yeah, it's perfectly, yeah, I agree.
This is kind of what it is, because I think everyone agrees that actually Tekken 8 is a game that, like, if you spectate it, it's really fun, right? And this is kind of like the Soul Calibur 6 critique, right? Where Soul Calibur 6 is actually very fun to watch for, like, a lot of people, for casual to watch a tournament. It's pretty hype, but sometimes the competitors might not all feel that same way about how fight's going, you know? But also, Tekken has meant a lot of different things to people, and so I think that's another hard part, and that's something that the Virtua Fighter community has to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
We've dealt with it in the past. You know, when Virtua Fighter 4 came out, I knew, not many, but I knew some people that just like, this new Virtua Fighter, I don't know if this is for me, right? Final Showdown did that too. Not VF5, because VF5 was similar to VF4, but Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, by getting rid of the multiple throw escapes, that turned off some people, turned off people, Reinhardt even, you know, but and I love what it is. I really love what that game did. So I think, you know, that's naturally gonna happen, but I do think this is really special what Crossroads is. What I see of Crossroads shows that it's still very much Virtua Fighter, but it is my dream that it's gonna revolutionize fighting games. It's like, this is something that's gonna change fighting games going forward and set the expectation that if you want a big fighting game, you gotta swing big like this. Otherwise, you can go the smaller route because there is an audience for it, and that's nothing wrong with that. But if you really want to make something like a really big fighting game that's going to get new people into fighting games, this is kind of the way they have to go, and I'm so grateful that this is the path they chose. It is a really risky path, so it's going to need the community more than ever.
100%. But I think it's already, you can tell there's just millions. I'm going to say millions of people. It's just a sense of, like, people who don't even play fighting games being like, oh, Chad, I know you play fighting games. Like, have you heard of this Virtua Fighter thing? I'm like, yeah. Like, it looks great. I think it's going to, it's looking super great. So you're right. You want their efforts to be rewarded. Because they will incentivize more from your franchise, from Street Fighter, from Tekken, from whatever. Like, if the bar gets risen this way, that's it. We're never going back. And so, it's here's hoping. But yeah, thank you so much, Chanchai. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
We definitely need to have another one of these chats again, but next time I'll be in Taiwan. I'm literally moving in the 3rd of July, so literally next week. So yeah, definitely we'll have chats, different time zone headaches. But yeah, thank you so much. Until then, take it easy.
Take care.
Bye. Okay, so you can hear me. I'm a bad streamer, so you can probably hear me, but can't see what's going on. That was awesome. I love those guys. And you guys all need to go follow Chanchai immediately. Whether you like VF or not, he's great people, great commentator. Great content creator and teacher too. I actually think even if you don't play Virtua Fighter, but you like teaching other people getting good at fighting games, he has a lot of great insights. So yeah, and obviously Tricky Ali needs no introduction. Don't tell me what to do. I already did. Lol. But yeah, awesome stuff. And it's gonna end for me. It's fucking 5 o'clock in the morning, so I'm gonna go to bed. Lol. I got work in not too long. But yeah, big second on Chanchai, 100%. But yeah, thanks for joining. And I might go quiet soon because obviously I'm moving to Taiwan next week, the 3rd. Oh my gosh, gotta stop packing and shit. Oh my god. But yeah, until then, guys, peace. Bye, YouTube. Oh, actually, wait, I should raid someone. I don't know who I'm gonna raid. Raid Shadow Legends. We'll end the YouTube. Bye. And then moving towards my time zone a bit. Yeah, slowly. Why'd you pick Taiwan? I love Taiwan.